Hey guys, how we doing? Pretty good? Everybody's week off to a good start? Everybody posted their images in the share shoot? Steve, how you doing, mate? Jamie, hey up, mate. Ed, good to see you again, man. How you doing? Yeah, let's get that music turned off. Good stuff, good stuff. Got a lot of people in here tonight. On time. Love to see it. Good stuff. Let me get that sorted. Ivan, how you doing? North Alabama. Good to see. What time is it there, Ivan? Is it late afternoon? Early afternoon? Yeah, what time is it there? Yeah. Darius, how you doing, mate? How you doing? Sound is good. Was that the beats or that was black and white from San Holo, or microphone? Level looks okay for now. Yeah, but thank you. Yeah. Warren, how you doing, mate? Sterling, good to see you again. Sterling, you still in Bangkok, or where are you? Are you back in the US? What are you doing? Gripes, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Voice level's good. Nice. There's this there. Thanks to the Facebook posts order. I've seen his first one today. Is that right? We'll see. When I click all comments, it changes around. But yeah, that's good, Darius. That's good. So are you saying that so that as soon as we do your image, you can just dip out? See how it is, Darius. See how it is. But no, I haven't had a look. So those of you new here, what Darius is talking about is the share a shoot over on Facebook. Let's have a look. So yeah, this is this week's post. So if you wanted to share an image and you haven't done so already, you can do so in there. Just head over to the link and pop your image in the comments. We do this kind of every live stream. Live streams are every other week, and yeah, it's just a good opportunity for you guys to share what you've been working on, but also it's kind of a good spot for me to give feedback on your images as well, right? If you want some constructive critique, then I can definitely do that. I'm being hesitant there is because I'm trying to be safe with it, unless there's some regulars in here, then I'm a bit more vicious with them. But yeah, if you're new, I promise to go easy on you. So if you haven't shared an image yet, I promise to go easy on you. You're good. But yeah, it's just a good opportunity to see what everybody else is working on, because to be fair, most of the time everybody's working on something different, right? Sure, we do a lot of colored lighting in here. Darius is normally doing long exposure. We got Tony in here who's doing something different every week. Jamie's doing stuff with latex and tubes and all that sort of stuff. So like, it's just a good opportunity to see what other people working on, really. So yeah, pop your images in there and we can take a look. Scarborough, Sin, nice. Still on the same time zone up there, Sin, yeah. Tasky, how you doing? I'll post something to talk about. Wait a sec. Post something to talk about. I don't know how it sounds of that, Darius. I don't know how it sounds of that. But yeah, let's just see what people have got in here. So Warren is most relevant this week. Love to see it. Let's have a look at all comments. Darius, mate, where are you? You're not even in the first page. Anastasi has posted 18 images. Try and keep it to one image, Anastasi. They're beautiful images, but try and keep it to one. Darius, did you even post another one from Anastasi? Darius, did you even post? Ivan's got a dozen images. What's going on? Come on, guys. You're normally pretty good at this. One image. Kevin, I can't even see your image, Darius. So it's not only you not first, you're not even on it, mate. There's a lot of images this week, though, guys. There's some good ones. Got, like I said, a lot of color, long exposure. Love to see that. Loving these colors, Michael. It's looking good. We've got a dozen equestrian images and then a dozen fitness images from Ivan down here. These look good though, Ivan. Yeah, these images look good, but yeah, it's Let's keep it to one. Otherwise, everybody would be posting lots of images. But they are good, though, man. Yeah, this is looking epic. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so live stream, we do the CC towards the end, but we like to cover a little bit of news. And some news is usually down to kind of releases, and releases, I mean, typically lighting. If it's a quieter week, we may talk about cameras, but it's usually more about lighting on here. We'll go through little bits and pieces in the news, and also we'll then usually cover like a specific topic. And for the last few weeks, I've been fortunate enough to be sent out some kit from various different people, and this week we'll be talking about the Godox Light Flow kit, which is kind of interesting. A little bit different to what some of you may be used to using. It's kind of niche. I had never really used it before. TLDR is a couple of months ago I was up at the photo show here in the UK chatting to the owner of Essential Photo there, Yang. He was showing me some of the new NOLAD products. Those of you that aren't aware, NOLAD is like the cinematic grade level from Godox, right? So I think they've got 3 tiers now. They've got Godox, which is like the typical flash stuff that most of us are familiar with, and then we've got NOLAD at the top, which is like the more cinema end stuff, right? So real kind of top end stuff. And then they've got one which is kind of a newer tier with the white lights that I've forgotten, because somebody reminded me, Lightmons, is it? Lightmons is the new range from Godox, and they're kind of geared towards more of the newer generation, right? So the YouTubers and live streamers and that sort of stuff. And like we're seeing a big influx in that from many different brands now. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of these lighting brands are trying to tap into that next generation, and like a lot of them are maybe not, shooting videos and that sort of stuff, but they are certainly live streaming or YouTube content and that sort of stuff. So all of these companies are going to look to tap into that. I think a couple of you already sent me some new lights from Amaran, which have been specifically targeted at streamers. So it's definitely a growing market. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Lightmons from Godox. So they sent me out those reflectors, which we're going to have a look at later on. And yeah, we'll be testing them live on stream and just seeing how they perform. But yeah, interesting stuff. So we'll do that in a sec. Let's have a look at some of these comments. You ever had to fend off some white walkers when across the wall? I know, mate. It's rough out there. Whew. Mate, I appreciate you going down to the community Wi-Fi hub and tuning in, mate. That's, thank you. And very, very grateful to have you here. Tazzy says, great, thanks. Thank you for being a big inspiration. Pleasure. Absolutely fantastic to hear that. Tusky, yeah. Whereabouts are you based, Tusky? Where you tuning in from? Ivan, that's your image, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, Aaron generated a few more. Yeah, I know, right? I did a set, but needed really only one great pose to make a Photoshop composite. Oh, okay. It was for the. Okay, so when we're going through these shots, then I'll focus on the final one, which I think I saw one that looked like comp here. Okay, so when we're going through it, focus on that one. Nice. Okay, good job. What's your next project, Jake? Any big plans on the horizon? Good question, Tusky. Yeah, so the last couple of years I've really just been playing a lot with a lot of the new lighting that's been coming out and coming up with some new kind of ideas, and I've been able to put together some pretty interesting and kind of new techniques that have been a lot of fun to play with. That I think we're in this kind of perfect storm right now where a lot of the cameras coming out are just so good at being able to capture low light now, right? I mean, I don't know how old some of you in here are, but I was talking to a professor the other day, and he teaches photography students, and he was saying 18, 19-year-olds just do not think twice about using the ISO as a tool to get more light, like we would use like an F number, because the same stigma with the grain and the noise just isn't there now. I'm sure on any kind of modern camera in the last 5 years, certainly, ISO 200, 400, 800, even and beyond, and like kind of none of us are going to think twice about it. So I think we're in this kind of perfect storm right now where camera tech enables you to get just incredible amounts of shadow detail, and also on the other side with lighting, you've got the lighting industries coming out with these incredibly unique types of lighting, specifically LEDs, and it's been a lot of fun to kind of bring those two things together. And historically I've been shooting with strobes for 20 years, over 20 years. And I was talking about this the other day with one of the guys that I do some online mentoring with, and it's this kind of weird era that we went through, right? So in the 50s, 60s, 70s, that's what you had, these beautiful hot lights, these Fresnel hot lights, like the Hollywood style lighting, and you can kind of look it up from like the some of the earlys there, like Holt and that sort of stuff, like all the Vogue front covers from back in the day, all taken with these beautiful Fresnel lights that, if you've never used them, create a truly remarkable light. And they're still used on cinema sets to this day, right? And these are multi-million-dollar movies that can have any lighting they want, and they still choose these kind of 50-year-old lights because they produce this beautiful light thanks to that piece of glass on the front of them and the incandescent bulb that we can get into on another day. But those two things combined creates this beautiful light. And then photography kind of came along, and convenience and price meant that strobes were able to kind of dominate, right? We were able to, we don't want to burn ourselves, and like we can't really modify this Fresnel light. It's cool, but we can't really do anything with it. It's just this one type of light. And photography for many years went down the flash route, and flash is really that kind of jack of all trades style light. You don't really notice it. I mean, I used it for 20 years. I didn't really notice it until you kind of step away from that and start using these kind of niche products, whether it be tubes or panels or just any kind of specific, or the Fresnel lenses. They really produce this truly like remarkable looking light, and it's kind of difficult to go back to the flash, but you end up having a lot of lights that do one specific job very well, but like they're not very modifiable. Like the LED tubes, beautiful lights, so easy to use, but they do this one task. Like you can't focus it into a beam or anything like that. So it's been a lot of fun playing with that. And to circle back to your point, long-winded way of getting there, was the fact that I was working on a course like 2 years ago called, it was originally called Gels 2.0, right? So now I've changed it to Color 2.0 as I've just kind of grown with the knowledge of the lighting that I've had, and kind of written this course, and I've had to kind of rewrite bits of it to accommodate some of the new like the new changes that have come with colored lighting. But no, it's been good. It has been good, yeah. Image posted, Darius says, yeah, I said your post about Livestream was first on the Facebook page, so thanks to Facebook. Oh, gotcha, yeah. Are you in the Czech Republic, Tasky? Okay, nice. So Ivan says, looks like moving more towards cinematic lighting, but I love the mix. It's a good point, Ivan. Yeah, it's a really good point. And I think that we're in this weird era right now, and I'm very conscious of it, but it's this, like, cinematic lighting is kind of the new C word, it's everybody just uses it, right? Oh yeah, that's cinematic. And I spent several years ago, I wrote a course on how to achieve and create cinematic lighting in the studio, right, using the type of lights that we would typically have. And it was a fascinating kind of in-depth exploration of what cinematic lighting truly means, right? And it's become pretty ubiquitous now, and I kind of often refer to it as the Netflix style, right? And if you've ever watched any kind of modern, I say modern like 5-10 years almost, everything has got like 14 stops of latitude, right? All the Netflix shows have just this huge range of shadows all the way up to highlights, and like it is good, but it's kind of difficult when you look back at some of the 90s films, for example, and you see that contrast, and you see how they're using that contrast to kind of direct the audience where they want them to be, right? And it's okay to have this kind of mystery in the shadows, and it's kind of interesting now. It's just we're just going to show you everything and let the audience kind of choose what they want to look at. And I think it's harder than people give it credit for. You remember years ago with Game of Thrones, and like everybody was bitching and moaning it was too dark, I couldn't see anything. It's because it was nighttime, guys. Like it's just, you don't need to see everything all the time. Like just maybe use a little bit of imagination, like, So I think there's a time and a place for it. But yes, I certainly have been playing with the cinematic style light, and LEDs have certainly allowed that. But to your point, Ivan, I think that people, like, whenever I post like a orange and blue gelled shot, it always gets like twice the amount of likes and traction than the cinematic stuff. So like you said, you need to have a mix, I think. Since as I'm in the Grand Hotel, a museum of a hotel with more seagulls around than the population of Scarborough, really, Wi-Fi seems to be working okay despite the infrastructure. So you are really sounds like some Bates Motel stuff, Sin. That sounds pretty eerie. Yeah. Just you're about to film a scene from Birds. Yeah, with the seagulls. Yeah. I think it was Peter Lindbergh. Our change cover of Vogue used Fresnel lights. Was it Ivan? Yeah. I mean, all of those guys back then. I mean, like that's pretty much all they used. But that's just because this is pre-Photoshop, right? This is pre-post-pro. So they were using those lights to create this beautiful, creamy look on the skin. And again, we can go into it another time, but those hot lights, those tungsten lights, or the incandescent lights, they reflect a beautiful quality of light from the skin that I think most modern lights today still struggle with. And there's a bunch of nerd charts that show why that happens. But it's the reason why film sets still use those 50-year-old hot lights, right? It's not because they don't have anything better. It's because they're kind of still, to us, in some people's minds, unrivaled. I swear nowadays the word cinematic has been heavily abused. It has gripes, yeah. It has and I am very kind of aware of it. And every time I write it, I roll my eyes, right? Because it's just used all the time. And I think the most common use of it is when you see an image that has like 14 stops of dynamic range, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's really cinematic. Or and look, I'm guilty of it as well. I am guilty of kind of tapping into that aesthetic. You just throw on a low contrast filter on a lens and off you go, right? But I agree with you, gripes. It's definitely been abused, yeah. You totally get it. I like shadows using lights directly out. Yeah, it is. But it's hard to do. It's almost becoming a lost art, right? Because even though I try and go right, I'm going to real crank the contrast in this one. I always kind of wimp out, and it ends up being tons of data in the shadows. So yeah, but it is certainly fun to play with. Yeah. The average age of the guests here, about 70. I think the only reason the Wi-Fi is so good is the bingo on at the same time. Nice. Yeah. Oh mate, you should be streaming. You should be streaming there, man. It sounds like you got gold. Yeah. Take out my dad's Premiere RB67 film camera. I haven't shot film in over 20 years, and it showed. But film grain, you get the gels to shoot film, would be beautiful. I do. Yeah. It's in the other room at the moment. But yeah, I use the Mamiya 6.9, and like it's you need to give it a decent amount of light. It is a very old camera. It's like 60, 70 years old or something like that. It is a very old camera. I was shooting it outdoors, shooting with outdoors a shoot the other day, and it was really bright, and I had to use 4,000th of a second, and like the camera just didn't cope. I got the film back, and it was like the shutter wasn't syncing or whatever, so it wasn't. Yeah, it really didn't like being at 4,000th. So I think if I do it again outside, I'll have to try and bring the shutter speed down and just coax it along, but yeah, the result of just this massive film plane is unmatched. It really is. And I think I've got some of the shots here. I think this one maybe has some film shots at the end. Yeah, here you go. So this is the 6.9 film camera, and so this is all film. You can see the border here, but like it's tough, man. It's tough to beat the just absolute gorgeous. Just the drop off of this massive film plane that the old film has is very difficult to even come close to with modern digital cameras. And I'm always on the lookout for buckling and getting the Fuji GFX right, but even that film sensor is nowhere near the size of this 6.9. It's not even close. Like, it's just a little bit bigger than 35mm. So it's not really in the same field, but like it's definitely getting there. But yeah, like the old film is also way grainier than I remember. Like, I remember thinking when I was at art college, like medium format film is like, it's super high quality and no grain, and compared to 35mm it was right back then. But medium format was way grainier than I remember. But it's the only reason for me to use it is going to be just the beautiful depth of field that you get and the drop off, and you really see that kind of outside. I mean, she's just in front of this background here, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Even like the back of the neck there, really drops off instantly. Great place for a shoot though, like the hotel from The Shining. I bet, Sin. Yeah, I bet. Like those places that just kind of remain untouched is wild. Yeah. I do use plugins to add film grain effect, Nick, I think. Yeah, I agree. The reason I used to add grain to my images was to kind of combat the compression when you would upload an image to social media, right? You'd add grain to it, and basically the social media or Meta or whatever couldn't compress the image as much because it was like, it thinks that there's data there, it's just grain. But you would add that grain to kind of stop the image from being compressed, and it would help with banding, with the compression as well, that sort of stuff. So that's why I used to add grain, and then it kind of just grew over time. And I got sent a code for Boris FX, which is crazy, right? Like that thing is it's an industry tool. It's used in major films all the time, but it does have this plugin section called optics, right? They gave me the whole thing to kind of test out. We'll go over it in a future stream. We got a few things planned before we get to that, but I was actually really impressed with the grain and the noise that it has in that. One of the guys that is usually in the stream is a guy called Vlad, and he was saying to me about, normal noise just sits on top of highlights and that sort of stuff, but it's actually less apparent in highlights, and this Boris FX is kind of doing all of that as well. So the grain on it looks legit. Yeah. It's not cheap though. Yeah. The compression, it creates differences to normal full frame. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You use Boris as well, Ivan? Okay. Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. Yeah, it's very, very powerful. Yeah. Okay. Let's cover a couple of bits of news then, and then we'll go over the Lightflow kit. So let's have a look. Where is? I should have this one. Yeah, some news on here. We're going to skim through these. Nothing crazy this week, to be fair, but there's a couple of bits here. This is from Petapixel. Photographer loses copyright lawsuit, claims Lil Nas X stole his poses. So this is kind of one of the first times I've heard of this happening. And by the way, if you guys got any products and that sort of thing that you've seen that you think, it's a recent product, Jake, you should check this out, then by all means, you can just post it in the share shoot. You can't post it in here in chat, sadly, but just go to the share shoot and pop a link in there, and I'll take a look later on. So this was interesting. So this is the photographer's images here, right? And then this is the final little X or whatever he's called, Lil Nas. Fucking hell, I'm old. Like, okay. So yeah, and this is. It's interesting that the photographer tried to. I mean, he's saying the poses, but he's really saying that they were plagiarized in terms of the aesthetic and style. And I think it's a bit of a stretch, really. So again, we've got like a bit of a stretch. This is definitely inspired by. I don't think that, I get why the photographer tried it little X or whatever is called has got obviously got pots of money, so he thought he'd try his luck. But look, I think that plagiarism or being inspired is definitely a grey area. I don't think there's many gamers in chat, but there's been a recent thing with Bungie and Marathon and them stealing somebody else's work and like putting it, copy and pasting it into the game, and that's definitive, right? It's exactly the same. They haven't adjusted it in any way, changed the shape or the font or anything. They're just literally taken like a decal of this artwork and put it in the game. So they're up for it, right? That's blatant theft. Whereas this is not, right? This is not. So I think this was a bit of a stretch, because it needs to be transformative, and I forget what the percentage is, but it's not much. Like it's like it just needs to be different by a certain percent. And I think that this is absolutely fine. Yeah, I mean he's like a black dude with chains. Bit of a stretch, right? Bit of a stretch. Now it did kind of lead on to a couple of you sent me this video that was going around. This was from Newcastle Photography College, that's Newcastle in Australia, and this guy here, sorry I forget his name, based in Australia, was saying that he has been like tattoo artists have attempted to sue him for copying their tattoos, right? And he's saying that it definitely in the US, and I think in the comments here you've got other countries chiming in, like Canada, it's illegal as well. Illegal is a bit strong, but the tattoo artist could claim copyright. If you photographed a model that had their tattoo on it and you were selling that image, the tattoo artist could claim copyright. Now I haven't looked into it in the UK, but again, I think that here that would be transformative, and I don't think that the tattoo artist would have a case, because you would be significantly transforming that original piece. It's on the body and it's probably going to be a small section of it. If you were photographing just the tattoo and it was like a close-up crop and you were selling the image of just the tattoo, different story, right? Different story. But this guy here was saying that I would never photograph anybody with a tattoo because you are liable and that sort of thing. So by all means, I'll grab you. But by all means, you can I'll grab the link and you can take a look at it in your own time. But has anybody encountered that before? I mean, I've certainly never even heard of that in the UK. So laws are different all over the world, but yeah, I've certainly never encountered that before. And I'm not a lawyer, so obviously seek your own advice. But yeah, it certainly wouldn't bother me, because I'm pretty confident that here in the UK, copyright is classed as transformative, and that would cover it, unless, like I said, you're doing a close-up. So yeah, let's have a look what we got here. Oh, Vlad, how you doing, mate? How you doing? Yeah, I was just talking about you. Maybe your ears were burning. Yeah. Chains on people, that's such a new thing. Oh, I know, right? Yeah, it's like photographing homeless people in black and white, like, yeah, in the rain. Jesus, yeah, like, can we maybe do something different? Yeah. So Jamie says 15 years ago a tattooist in America nicked one of my images. So that's interesting, Jamie. So that goes the other way, right? And you raise a good point, because I find it funny freaking out models when I go, look, I've just found another tattoo where somebody's used one of my images and tattooed it onto their body, and it does freak out the model. But it's happened to me loads. I mean, it doesn't bother me in the least, right? It's a single one-off tattoo that either the client has requested or whatever, and it doesn't bother me at all. But there has been cases where you have a case. I think there was one recently. I think there was a guy who photographed a famous jazz musician, and there was some LA tattoo artist who put that image on the body, and I think you have more of a case of winning that than the other way around, Jamie. Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure you're not bothered about it, but yeah, it does happen a lot. Yeah. Someone wants to sue me. I just see in my head some impact tell him to jog off. Is it jog on or jog off? It's jog on. Yeah. So I'm not going to go into the tariffs too much here, but I just briefly just touch on it because it does kind of affect us. But we've kind of heard rumors of people moving factories out of China, and that's because of the US tariffs and that sort of thing, which is what Trump wanted, right? I think he wanted people to try and move factories into the US. Sony. I don't know whether it was Sony cameras. I think it was Sony PlayStation was considering moving, opening up production in the US. So if that's the case, then what Trump is doing is working, right? But sadly, there's a bunch of us here that aren't in the US, and we are going to be paying the price as well, because a lot of these tariffs are going to be passed on to us rather than solely the Americans, right? Great. Thanks guys. So yeah, I mean, it does kind of affect everybody. It's not just, well, I'm not American, not my problem. So I mean, you think, so like, there's still, most of them are going to be in China here. We got 65%, 25% Vietnam, 10% Japan. So in theory, if they've already got infrastructure in place, they can just kind of move more of it into factories that are already there. Sigma as well, thinking about doing it. Increases set for June 2025 due to new US tariffs. Again, we kind of knew this was going to be happening, and it's one of those things where you just want to kind of kick the can down the road, right? So we got here, these include 24% tariff on goods from Japan, 34% from China, and 46% from Vietnam. So like most of those factories we just saw from Tamron, right? All the factories are in those three countries. So, it's certainly not isolated. And Sony, right? So, we're now starting to see the result of it. So today, Petapixel confirmed that these price increase did happen. So we're talking about Sony specifically here. B&H is now listing the 28 to 135 f4 for $2,998. The 400 to 800 is now listed at 3,298. So looking at 10% here. Yeah, which is kind of what they expected, right? Yeah. All up from 2.4, 2.8, and 1.3 respectively. Okay, yeah, which is kind of what we expect. So, but it is actually happening, right? So it's not just it'll never happen. It'll never happen. It's actually, it is actually happening over there. So again, coming back to Sony PlayStation, is only because this is the story that I heard. They were all like, if you want to buy a PlayStation Pro, do it now, right? Again, how much of that is convenient marketing, right? I mean, just a spike in sales. Thanks very much. But yeah. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Yeah. What about when you photograph musicians and there are big backdrops of other musicians on display? She's talking about humans, right? So it depends where you are. If you're in a public space, then it's fine. Photograph them all you want. If it's in a private space, which is what it sounds like, then you would need model releases from them, right? So everybody whose face is visible and distinguishable, right? So if you photograph in the back of somebody's head, you don't need a model release from them. Or if they're really out of focus and you can't tell individuals apart, then you don't need a model release from them. But if you can identify the people in the image, then you legally need a model release from each and every person in that image, background or not. Yeah. We were getting the short end of the stick since a long time to pitch in Europe. Yeah, it's true, Gripes. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think this will affect the SH market. Vlad, what do you mean? Affect the SH? I apologise if I'm being dumb on that one. Yeah. We were getting the short end of the stick since a long time, to be honest, in Europe. Yeah. But I think I don't know whether passing on the cost to the rest of the world is sensible, because America is going to see growth and the rest isn't. So I'm not saying I'm not saying fuck the Americans, but I am saying that if they're seeing the growth, then maybe it's going to be easier for them to soak it up rather than, putting that, making it more expensive in Lithuania seems a little bit unfair to me, I suppose is what I'm getting at, right? Yeah, secondhand. I'm sorry, Vlad. Yeah, that's me being dumb. Yeah. Do you think it will affect the secondhand market? No, you're good, Vlad. You're good. Do I think it will affect the secondhand market? Eventually, sure, because as we know, like the secondhand market, like that price is based on the value of the buying it new, right? Whether it be like you're getting you buy a new lens or versus a second-hand one, which is like 30% cheaper, then I think if the original price goes up, then the second-hand market will definitely go up for sure. Yeah, it's a good point actually. Yeah, it's not something I thought about. I wonder how long that'll take to trickle down, but that is a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. We're not going to spend too long on this one, but this was just, I saw a bunch of people talking about, oh my god, the changes in Photoshop. Wow, they've given us colored dots for the HSL. This is not news, don't worry. I just kept it in here to ask you guys, does anybody download the Photoshop beta? Do you guys normally do that? Are you like, Photoshop beta is out, I'm on that, I need to check out what the latest hotness is in the Photoshop world? Is that something you guys do? I did for like the image gen stuff, like the AI stuff, because everybody was banging on about it, and I was like, okay, let's have a look, let's see what that's about. But that's really one of the only times I downloaded the beta. I don't typically. I was just kind of surprised at the amount of people that kind of did. Maybe it was just only YouTubers, right? It's kind of their job, but yeah. I should grab my second hand. So anybody before that happens. I know you. I was thinking. It was as you said it. I was in my mind. I was thinking. There's a couple of bits that I've got watched on eBay, and I'm like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I should try and like just think about pulling the trigger on that. And 3D Lot Creator is a great choice for creating color profiles to use. Are you talking about that specifically in Photoshop? Because I don't use LUTs. Yeah, I kind of individually color grade myself, either in Lightroom or in Photoshop. But yeah, I don't personally use LUTs. Yeah, so I haven't done that. Yeah. So Gripe says, yeah, same only for me. I did it for image gen, yeah, and then don't bother. Yeah, I always find it. Yeah, always find it interesting. I guess it's just content, isn't it, right? Just real quick, I thought I'd hang on to this because this is kind of one of the first times that we've seen this tilt shift lens on like APS-C cameras or crop frame cameras. More importantly, like, is $170. I was like, what the hell? That's again, it looks like a serious piece of kit as well. It's got the actual. It hasn't just got the old Lens Baby bellows or something. This looks like a serious piece of kit as well. So I was like, that seems a remarkable price. If anybody's got crop frame, I mean, to be fair, even us with full frame, we could still use it and then just crop in. It's not the end of the world, right? But for $170, I was like, damn, that's crazy. Yeah. If the companies are applying US tariff to UK prices, then the UK should put tariffs imports on those goods. Oh, it's a mess in, right? I know, right? It's a real mess. Yeah, it's a real mess. I think it's kind of annoying because I think that here in the UK, whichever particular Muppet is in charge at the moment kind of did an okay job of getting a decent price for us. But it didn't matter in the end, right? It just didn't matter. Like, we got a decent price for us with the US, which was cool, and then we still suffer the consequences from other prices. So it's like, great, nice. Yeah. They also released full frame. Did they, Grabs? Oh, I missed that. Okay, that's what I get for skim reading. Yeah. Thank you. I will actually have a look then. So this is what this specific company, Gripes. Is that what you mean? They make one for full body. That's what I get for skim reading it. I'll have a look at that. Interesting. Yeah. Because they're fun, man. They're fun. Yeah, they're a lot of fun to play with. Nikon was top full-frame mirrorless camera maker in Japan for the first time. You see how many caveats Nikon had to have? Top. You had to get top, full-frame, mirrorless camera maker in Japan for the first time. So, but Nikon did it. It's and look, look, I know it's a meme at this point to shit on Nikon online, and I get it, it's fine, right? There's certainly tons of things that I would improve about my Nikon camera. Don't get me, most of it revolving around terrible focus. But the potato jokes aside, everybody that has this new Z camera has been like, actually, is really good. So yeah, I was chatting to a guy, and he's got it. And he's just like, Jay, you need to check it out. It's actually really good. Joking aside, it's actually really good. So I think Nikon very, very late to the party, but did actually produce. Like they got there in the end, and they brought the goods when they actually got there. So it's supposed to be a very good piece of kit. I haven't used it, but people I've spoke to. Has anybody here got it? Anybody tried it? Nice one, Gripes. Yeah, I'll actually have a look at that. Yeah, I have to see what the price is. Yeah, yeah. My human autofocus keeps missing the shot. yeah. I do still use a bunch of art lenses, and which are all manual focus, and it's you definitely, like you are like you're just drifting in and out, going, is that in focus? I guess it is in focus. Yeah, it's definitely getting harder and harder to use these art lenses. Yeah, but your old potato has one of the best sensors on the market nowadays. I will look. I'm happy to. I'm happy for all the jokes, because I am very happy with my D850 and the colors that thing produces. Like, it's good, man. It's good. I can't argue. I don't need it to be razor sharp. It's not. It's not the way that I shoot. I'm not shooting f8 on everything. But I agree with you, Vlad. I do think that the color rendition in that D850 is so good. So good, and it's if it was shit, I wouldn't use it. It's my job, so yeah, it is good. Yeah, I had the Z8, has awesome sharp. It is, Ivan, is very sharp, very, very sharp. Yeah, and the guy I was talking to uses a bunch of different, like a bunch of new modern cameras that comes out. He usually picks them up and jumps in, and it's funny because he was really splitting hairs about it took X split second longer to focus on this eye rather than that eye, and I'm just like I'm a DSLR shooter. If the face is in focus, that's a win, not a specific eyeball. So we've really got to a point now where we're splitting hairs with these cameras. And look, that's great. I'm pleased for you. But if the face is in focus, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy. This is specific to the UK. I'm just curious if anybody else got an invitation to this. I was emailed directly from the Shoot Book, and the Shoot Book is an exclusive test shoot matchmaking network for signed models and agency approved photographers. So they sent me an invite to this. I haven't signed up, mainly because this is just someone else to kind of look at, and I haven't got around to it. All accounts are subject to approval, but because of Sophie's Network, you have a foot in the door. Did anybody else receive this, and has anybody else signed up to it? I'm guessing it's UK togs only. I was just kind of curious if it was any good, I suppose, right? I mean, I suppose I could sign up, but I just thought I'd mention it, seeing as I recently got sent this. Yeah. So this was kind of one of the bigger lighting things that came out recently. So Vlad, I know you sent me this, and Steve, I think you sent it in on Facebook as well. So this is interesting, right? This is so Amaran. Those of you who don't know, Amaran is kind of the split off from Aperture. Aperture, extremely good LED manufacturer, and for many years has been making very high quality LEDs for film, TV. So high-end stuff, right? That's what they're known for. And they had this Amaran kind of, it wasn't like, budget makes it sound worse than it is, but Amaran was the kind of the step down tier of Aperture. And look, the lighting was supposed to be extremely good. And I was, at the time, I was like, they're not just going to make a specifically shitty factory for Amaran products like Aperture, right? So I was convinced that the products that were being made by Amaran, or the Amaran name on them, were pretty much Aperture products, but they were just trying to tap into that lower budget market, right? So very, very, very good quality lights. I'm sure they maybe switched out a couple of cheaper components here and there, but for the most part, very high quality lights. Now, Amaran has, as a company, is really now seemingly fully split away from Aperture, and they don't really have any ties with them at all. I haven't looked into the legal ownership of the brand or anything like that, but like I was at the photo show earlier on this year, and Aperture was not there, Amaran was there, right? And there was just no mention at all of Aperture, or like they've just fully split now. That like it's their own entity. So again, I don't know whether money's changed hands there and it's just been signed off to somebody else, and it really is something separate. But they, again, looking at targeting the next generation, right? So streamers and YouTubers and that sort of stuff, and decent price as well. So we got this fella here. Let's have a look. So I mean, $80. What's the size of this? What do you reckon? I mean, that's the size of what, an A4 sheet of paper? I mean, it's pretty much like an A4 sheet of paper. Yeah. Okay. So it comes with a stand. Oh, so if you get different stands, different amount of money. Okay. But on its own, $80. Okay. Here we go. We've got the tech specs. Here was the size. Guys, obviously I'm missing it because there's no way you haven't included the size, right? But anyway, I mean, looking at the 97, it's okay. 96, it's okay. Like, it's fine. It's geared up for streamers and that sort of stuff. Yeah. I mean, like $80 for that. Now I can only do, I presume, was there a Kelvin range on there? Yeah, there we go. So 27 to, so basic Kelvin range and that sort of stuff. So look, and you see, right, the controls on the front. So you're streaming, just like, let me turn that up and down. Controls on the front, looking good. Now the only kind of significant downside to these is this just horrendous mounting bracket at the back here, which looks pretty ropey, which is a shame. Yeah. Get back. I'll have a look at that in a second, Ivan. So I want one of those so bad for my Destiny filming videos. It's, I mean, like, you don't need any more than that. I mean, it's good, right? Yeah, it's good. Michael, how you doing, mate? Yeah, I think streaming is a market that a lot of companies are trying to tap into, influence streamers in general. 100% agree with you, Gripes. Yeah, and I think that you kind of saw it, and then we're seeing more and more companies kind of bring out a new line specifically targeted, and to more mature folk like you and me, Gripes. Let's be honest, we're talking about a younger generation of creatives, right? And we're talking about they've grown up watching streamers and YouTubers and that sort of stuff, and that's what they want to do, right? And they want to get some of this kit. And yeah, so look, I mean, Amaran is clearly doing it here. They're bringing out an entire dedicated line. Godox is bringing out, I've already forgotten it again, or like what it was called, like the white lights. I forget what it's called now. I said it earlier on, but they're bringing out like a line specifically targeted at that. Because I asked them, I said, like, these lights are the same. So you've got 150 watt full RGB color head here. You've just re-released that, Lightmons, I think it's called, and and they said no, it's for this specific line. So they're targeting like this new generation, as it were. What they also got here, check out this little beauty, right? So this is actually a monster, right? This is a real monster. So this is bicolor, 55 centimeters. So like it's like that's the size of the Bowen's beauty dish that I used for generations. Right? Beautiful size. Absolutely, in my opinion, the perfect size for headshots, right? And like, it's not even close. So I swear by that beauty dish, right? And those of you like long time watchers, listeners, whatever, will know that I kind of switched over to the Rotolight EOS purely because of how even the spread of light was across that disc of LEDs, but it's not quite as big as the original 22-inch Bowens Beauty Dish. Now this fella here, this is that size, and this is going to give you truly even lighting across the full length of it. The full width of it, which is wild, right? So I know that is going to be a beautiful looking light. And do they show the edge of it? Vlad sent me a video, and the guy was like holding it, and it's like an inch thick or something. There you go. You kind of get the idea here. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Now this like the actual arm and stuff that's holding it is bad. I would feel sketchy about that, but what are you going to do, right? I mean, guys, we can't be using this. That's terrible. It's not. You're going to take one rage quit from CS:GO, and that thing is snapping off and taking a chunk of the desk with it. But I mean, what, $260 for I know that is going to produce a beautiful type of light. And if it wasn't for that bracket on the back, which is a huge miss, but again, I don't care. It's a new generation, right? It's even got a little grid. What the hell? Okay. Damn. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So look, if anybody gets one of those, let me know how it is, but because I'm pretty convinced that's going to be gorgeous. Yeah, it's going to be gorgeous. Yeah. Small one has a tripod screw. Oh, does it, Vlad? Okay, okay, on the bottom there. That's true. You could use that instead. Yeah. I mean, look, that's all you need, right? Controls wise, boom, power, color, job done. Oh yeah, there you go. I don't know how strong that is, but then it's not going to weigh very much, is it? Anyway, it's not going to weigh anything. Less than a kilo. So yeah, okay, 2 pounds, nothing. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, so you could use that. You could definitely use that, I reckon. Yeah. The round one is huge. You're going to be mounted with the weird mount, but that's super solid. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree. I think it's wild times, man. It is wild times. And so Vlad, when Vlad sent this to me a few days ago, it came attached with a video, and the guy on there who is a streamer or something like that, he kind of raised this interesting point that I was kind of surprised to hear them talking about. But he was going, look, this big disc is really good for us streamers and gamers and that sort of thing, because it means that you can have light spread over a larger area, and by doing that, it means you can turn it way down, right? And he's absolutely right. If you have this huge disc like behind you like that, you can turn it way down, and you're still going to be well lit, even though it's way down, because it's a massive disc. And the benefit of that for gamers and that sort of stuff. I mean, it's bad enough for me when I'm streaming and I'm retouching on Photoshop and I've got this light. I would never have this light into my eyes when I'm retouching, right? So for gamers and that sort of stuff, it's kind of and he only briefly mentioned it, but I would think that's a huge selling point that is kind of not being capitalized on, because you could have this massive disc, turn it way down, it's not going to be bright in your face, you're not going to be backlighting it, front lighting yourself, which I think is a really good point. Yeah. Thank you, Vlad. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So that's the video that Vlad sent me. Like I said, I think he's a streamer, so you have to excuse the fact that he's 2 stops overexposed for the whole thing. But it's worth having a look at. So I had a question earlier on, I skipped over. So Ivan says, curious, when you focus on posing, are you going with what looks good in the end, or do you have an idea before the shoot? Do you use grids for posing, composition, or most of the painters use grids? No. I think this is a really good question, Ivan, and something that we could kind of do a whole topic on. But and I've kind of mentioned it briefly in the past, but I do think that us as we're shooting, we are collaborating with the subject in front of us, right? And if they're a professional model, then you've got this wide gamut, right? You've got regular people, like a corporate headshot, right? I mean, I've done tons of those in the past. The corporate headshot, those people don't want to be there, think they look awful, they're in their work clothes, right? They don't know how to pose, right? So like you got that, and then you got family portraits, so they're trying to have a good time, they do want to be there, but like they don't know how to pose. And then you go to new models, who Instagram models and that sort of thing, who don't know how to pose, and you've got to try and post them, and you go all the way up through to experienced kind of agency models, right? And you've got barriers with each of them. Obviously at the bottom there with your corporate headshots and that sort of stuff, you just got to stick to your key things, right? Just like keep your hands out of shot, chin up slightly, angle the head a little bit, make sure we got catch lights in the eyes, no double chin, shoulders back, like you're just ticking off a few things, right? And if you get something that's passable, then fine. And then coming up to your Instagram models, like that's kind of where it gets tricky, right? Because you have a shot in mind, and you're trying to get them to basically sell that shot that you've got in your head. So whether it be dramatic colored lighting, I can't have them all like they're demure looking cute. It's like this it doesn't match the dramatic gelled lighting that I've got here, right? So I need to have, I need to get down low, maybe have your chin up, more power coming forward and that sort of stuff. And then you've got the top end there with agency models. And sometimes you need to be careful with agency models because they'll just go through their poses, right? They'll just do their flow. It's their day job, right? They're just there. They're going through their poses, and they're going to give you the same poses that they gave the last 10 guys before you, right? So that's where it's kind of your job to then kind of try and eke something different and new and engaging out of them from that. And that's really where the trick is. And for me, I'm trying to get into a state with the model where you're kind of getting into this flow state, right? And it can happen where you can be shooting like a set for 30 minutes, but you may only have like 20, 30, 40 seconds where kind of all the shots come from, right? And you're kind of building up into this kind of flow state with them where you can just go, this is it, right? We're in this kind of zone now where kind of every shot we take is absolute gold, but you are kind of working them up into that. And that's really where I think the experience comes from, right? In trying to get there, because you can't really write that down. And to your point there, this is why I kind of struggle with the grids aspect as well, because I think you can only really truly get something unique and impactful is if she's giving you like the best, like the top of her game as well, rather than you kind of imprinting that onto her. But that's just me. Yeah. So $260. Yeah, no, I'm not going to play it on stream. Thank you though, Vlad. Yeah. If anybody else, sorry, I was saying thank you for sending the link for other people. Yeah. I was saying $260 in the US, $250. So it is similar in the UK. Yeah, $250 in the UK, around $300 in the EU. And the Amaram Virgin Max kit is the tariffs, so we're just getting screwed in general. I still don't think we've seen the full brunt of it yet, Gripes, either. I think that it hasn't kind of trickled down yet. I still think that, I mean, maybe the end of the year we'll kind of get a handle on it, but I don't even think we've seen the full extent of it yet. Yeah, personally. Yeah. So Ivan says, sounds like natural flow. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, I think that, like, I don't know if you've seen any streams before or anything like that, but I'll kind of build like a 3D diagram of the shoot before shoot day, right? And that program allows me to pose a model and stuff in there, so I'll kind of have an idea of where the model's going to be, and like I need your chin up, so we're getting a light pocket in this eye and that sort of stuff. You kind of start there, but then you kind of work through it, because like maybe she's taller, maybe she's shorter, maybe she's got a protruding nose, maybe she's got a lot of hair that gets in the way of the light, so I think you need to be kind of flexible on that. Anyway, Gripes, thanks for checking the prices on that is, I would say for many years, to your point here, I would say for many years, in my experience when it came to photographic kit, that it's kind of been like for like, so pounds for dollars, right? In my mind, because in theory, what it should be what 30% less or something like that. But it, in terms of the exchange rate, but it never is, right? It's usually been like for like. So I think we'll have to see gripes. Like I said, I don't think we've seen the full effect of it yet. US doesn't have the tax precedent. Yeah, we have the VAT baked in. Yeah, don't get me started on that as well. Yeah. So let's kind of talk about. We're going to get into the NOLED products here. Like I said, NOLED is the kind of cinematic line of from Godox and that sort of thing. And I don't actually have a ton of Godox kit. I really have very little of it. So in recent weeks, I've kind of been communicating with them in terms of some of their NOLED stuff. And a couple of weeks ago, we reviewed the MS60R little Coke can lights. Very, very, very impressive lights. Yeah, really, really kind of surprised by them, but they're from NOLED. So I don't actually own a ton of Godox stuff. And like Godox is kind of in this weird camp at the moment where you have a lot of people kind of just really anti-Godox, but I think whether it's just because it's a Chinese company or just because it's made in China or something like that. And I think you have, a lot more people really in reality going, they make decent stuff and it's at a price that is kind of more affordable, right? And I think that it may be surprising as to how much they actually make in the photographic industry. So this is one of their triggers here, right? Godox X3N, right? And then recently Broncolor brought out their trigger. It's not even available yet, so it's a brand new trigger. So $260, and this one is $90. So look, I don't think I need to kind of explain to you who made Broncolor's trigger, right? This is not some secret, but look, there's a difference in price there that is kind of cheeky, right? It's kind of cheeky, and look, this is not something that is brand new to us. The old, I think I've got one of these somewhere. I think it's kind of similar to this. It hasn't got these markings on the top here, but yeah, the old wireless receiver here, and then the Broncolor one again, right? So look, I think Godox does more in this industry than a lot of people kind of allow themselves to believe, and I think to kind of ignore what they're doing would be foolhardy, right? Because like in my opinion, in my humble opinion, Broncolor is the creme de la creme of studio flashlighting, right? I really cannot think in my mind of a brand that I hold in higher regard than Broncolor. The quality of their flashes are second to none, right? In terms of their, whether it be build, but I'm talking specifically about their color consistency and their power consistency and that sort of stuff. They have been at the top of the industry for a very long time. But they're not shy about letting Godox do their triggers, right? So we're talking about like a Mercedes level brand allowing what's seemingly like the Fiat Punto brand to to make products for them is just not. It's like, of course that's just not the case. Godox is making some serious kit here, and even people at the top here like Broncolor are happy for them to kind of make some products for them, right? Because they're not going to, like, you can see the prices that Broncolor is charging, right? They're expensive. They're expensive kit. So Godox is making some serious pieces of kit out there. So just because they're kind of cheaper, I don't think we should kind of sort of overlook what they're doing. Yeah. I've seen this trigger in person. I don't think I'm a fan of it. I prefer tactile buttons for my trigger, not touch screens. That's a good point, Gripes. I do want to. I was going to say touch on that, but I won't. I will speak about it in a second. Yeah, I'm curious. Do people here care about what X photography product is made? I speak to a lot of people that do, Vlad. Yeah. I'm not saying that you guys do it in here, but I speak to a lot of people that do. Yeah. It's something that and look, I think it's maybe a kind of a dated feeling now. I think, older people like my generation maybe have a kind of misguided approach now. I think it's, but I don't think young people are caring as much, especially when price becomes more of an issue, right? You start to care less, yeah. Did Profoto make this? I know, right? Yeah. I mean, I wonder who's making Profotos, though, Gripes. That's what I'm wondering, yeah. Wasn't the blinker from some Lambo like that? Same with the I wouldn't be at all surprised, man. I think there's more of that stuff going on there than people realise, yeah. I have the Godox version of this trigger and the previous one too. This one is pretty great, small and touchscreen. Okay, so Gripes is saying here that he's seen this trigger. It's not really grabbing him because of the touchscreen and that sort of stuff. And Sterling says he owns it and loves it, right? So it's going to be horses for courses. The reason why I would never use this trigger, in reality, is the internal battery, right? Unless this is a scam, and my knee-jerk reaction is that if I was a professional photographer having to use this trigger, I would have to buy two. Like, it's not even close. Like, you can't change the batteries on it, right? So you can't just whack a couple of double A's in there and off you go. Like, the trigger's, like, what do you do? Okay, the trigger has run out of battery. Okay, better everybody stop what they're doing, let's charge it up. Like, you're gonna need two, right? So that's what I'm like. I can see the touchscreen being fine, and I've kind of got more accustomed to the touchscreen things over the years, whether it be because all the rotor lights are touchscreens and that sort of stuff. I do kind of like. It's difficult once I've used the touchscreens on those rotor lights. Like, it is very, very, very nice, and that's a tiny touchscreen, so I can kind of see the benefits of it. But for me, yeah, internal battery is a no, right? And I really don't want to have to spend $500 on fucking triggers. Yeah. Touchscreens are fine. The one trigger is just too small. It's too small, Steve. Okay, yeah. I have so many of those Godox triggers though, all different generations. And yeah, you're right. It's easier to palette it when it's a little bit cheaper. But yeah. Be nice to have a lock button once settings on the touchscreen. So, Ivan, that is a good point. And I bitched and moaned about this, about the rotor lights. And I think all of you guys in here was like, Jake, you just press the buttons and it locks the screen. I can't believe you didn't know that. So sometimes a lot of these touchscreens do have secret combinations that you can kind of do to lock the screen. So with the rotor lights, you got to hold the two back buttons in, and that locks the screen. So I'd be surprised if this didn't have a similar feature, but I agree with you. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be having that like that. Yeah. Plus the speed lights can handle triggering. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Broncolor's pricing though, man, that's wild. That is wild. Yeah. Nice. That is a serious markup. Yeah. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to kind of wrap the news up unless anybody else has got anything to share. I just wanted to share a funny story before we move on to the Godox NOLA light flow kit thing, whatever, which we're going to have a look at now. So I mentioned this many years ago, but I have like a Google alert for my name, right? So if my name gets used online, then I get sent an email from Godox, right? And it's usually for people using my work, whether for the right reasons or wrong reasons. So it's just good to kind of set up. It just takes 30 seconds. You just set up a Google alert for whatever you want. I put my name in there, and it kind of just pings me whenever my name gets used online, and then I can kind of take a look to see whether I need to take any legal action, sort of thing, right? But this one popped up the other day, which I thought was hilarious. So Echo Man, which is somewhere in the US, like, I don't know, Tennessee or something like that. Echo Man accused of stealing nearly 500 pounds of crawfish from a local farmer. So this guy, this Jake Hicks. So occasionally I will get news stories of other Jake Hickses around the world, and so they're always hilarious. It's never like Jake Hicks has won an award for creative art in somewhere. Like, it's always getting collared by the law, and the news story comes out like this one, accused of stealing nearly 500 pounds of crawfish. Like, these Jake Hickses, man, you got to watch out for them. Yeah. You should do, Vlad. You should do, yeah. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, it takes 30 seconds. It's just worth doing. If your name gets mentioned, sometimes it gives me a little giggle. Oh man, yeah. Nice one, Sterling. Nice one. Yeah. Be prepared. Yeah, be prepared. Okay, right. So today I wanted to talk about the NOLAD cine lighting reflector here, or the light flow reflectors. Okay, and this is something that kind of cinema and TV have used for a very long time on set, and they are essentially these kind of reflective panels that you bounce light into or off of, so you can kind of bounce light around the set. Okay, so most of us photographers here are kind of used to using reflectors, right? Whether it be a wedding, you want to bounce in a little bit of fill light or something like that, like there's the pop-up ones. Just knock somebody out with that as you open it, and then spend 40 minutes trying to put it back in its case. But like, that's kind of what we're used to, right? But whereas on set they use these, hard metal plates, and like they kind of used a lot to kind of bounce light into windows and that sort of stuff. Or like, as we can see here, right? Boom, it's coming from up here. You're not going to get that. You're just not going to get that thing up there, right? So rather than do that, you're kind of bouncing the light in there. Okay. Or for smaller sets here, they're just bouncing light onto, daylight into a set, and just using basically a lot of these reflectors, getting one light to do several lights worth of work and that sort of stuff. Okay, and it's not something that I kind of used before. And like I said, I was up there at the photo show. Yang from Essential Photo was showing me these, and I was like, you know what, that's pretty cool. I could see myself stacking some of these in front of each other and getting kind of different effects, right? Maybe have a big one behind and then have a smaller one in front. Maybe put a gel on the smaller one in front, so you can get soft bounce light and then hard bounce light with color and that sort of stuff. So I was kind of thinking along those lines. Now they sent me out the pack. I think it's the 25, yeah. So which just means it's 25 centimeters across, and we're gonna have a look at those now. So thank you to Essential Photo for sending those over. Yeah. We get a review about those. Yes, I will. I have been using them, and I used them the other day. Let's have a look. Actually, now that you bring it up, Gripes, let's have a look. Let's wait for my keyboard to wake up. So the review I did the other day of the MS60R thing. Let's have a look. So I actually used them there. So let's see. So this shot here is just two lights, right? Which is just two of the little Coke cans behind the model here. So camera left over here. I've got that set to like 10,000 Kelvin, and then I've got the one on the right here set to whatever it is. It was 1800 Kelvin, I think it went down to. So very blue and very orange, right? And then in the front of her, so remember this is two lights, and then in the front of her here is one of these light flow reflectors, right? So like you can do, like it was actually pretty. I was actually pretty impressed with how much light it was bouncing back. Let me see if I can grab my brush here a second. So just for clarity, is that the brush? Where's my brush gone? There it is. So yeah, so you guys know what I mean, right? So that's the background back there, and I've got a light here. I've got the model here. She's kind of looking this way. I've got a light back here, right? And then straightforward, right? And then I'm kind of in here with the camera. And then the I know you can't see because my camera's in the way, my screen's in the way, but the reflector dish is right there. So it's just right in front of her. The light flow reflector is right there. Okay, and that's what's kind of lighting her face. You can see the catch lights in the eye there. So this blue light, this low Kelvin light is actually bouncing in into the face here, and you can kind of see the specular highlights there from that. What I actually think is also happening here is that hand is not on the head, and this is like a shot taken halfway through. I actually think there's some light bouncing off her hand here as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. So that's the principle, right? You're just using lights to do that, and similar sort of thing with the rest of these. Let's have a look. Exactly the same thing. You guys get the idea. Same thing here, right? So we've got the blue on the hair here, right? And that's firing across her, firing across the hand, and that sort of thing. Got the light flow reflector here, and that's bouncing that light back into the face. But you can see it's only giving us kind of almost like the specular highlights here, because we're still red on the face from the red that I've got in shot, and then the kind of like the highlights on the skin is picking up, and you can see again, you can see the catch light in the eye here, so it's bouncing that back in. Okay, so pretty straightforward. You know, these shots are all shot the same way. The image that we're using this week in the share shoot, again, shot the same way. It's just that this time the red light is coming directly over her and hitting the reflector, so that's why it's kind of red on this side rather than blue this time. Okay, so like interesting to work with, And then we think we got the. Let's have a look. So that's the light. Yeah, these are the lights behind, right? I just had barn doors on it to keep it from, like, to keep it pretty much just hitting her and the actual dish and the actual plate there, the light flow reflector. And this is it here. So one of these light flow reflectors creates a horizontal scoop of light, which is really weird, and that's why you're seeing the reflections here looking like this horizontal strip. It's kind of cool. It's actually pretty defined. We'll have a look at it in a minute. But yeah, it's just there like that. And there you go. You see it there. So boom, just on a stand there, bounced in. Pretty straightforward. Okay. So I think we've got that horizontal scoop of light. There we go. There it is there. So you can see, so it's mounted vertically there. So you've got this horizontal slot of light going up and down. But obviously you can just mount it horizontally, which is what I was doing, and it was just kind of scooping across the top half of the body. Yeah. I need to remember to get more BTS. You got it, man. You got it. It's kind of a running joke with some of the people that I mentor online, because I'm always asking them to get BTS. It's like I cannot. It's very difficult for me to help you with your photo shoots if I don't know what's going on behind the camera. And this applies for your own learning as well, right? If it's like, oh my god, I love this shot. Ooh, wonder what was going on there. Look, I'm guilty of it as well. I've got photo shoots on my website that people will still come and ask me, oh, I want that. I'm like, I don't know how I shot that, right? So yeah, shooting BTS, especially if you're doing anything even remotely complicated, it becomes very important. Yeah. Thank you, Ivan. Yeah. So we're using one of the hard lights reflector, not soft. So that one, I think there's using a couple of different ones there, Ivan. Yeah. So to your point there, am I using soft or hard reflectors? So I think one of them I'm using the soft one. There's the final image there. So like these ones I think are the soft ones, right? So it's kind of wrapping around a little bit more. And then I think these ones were like the harder ones, just giving you this kind of more defined highlight there, but not as it's not wrapping as much. Yeah. So kind of a mix, if I'm honest. Now some of these, here you go. So this is the slot one, right? So this is the slot one. I showed you that slot, right? So that's what's going on here. So you can see the shadow here. Right, and I kind of wanted this kind of slot of light where her face was, so I was able to kind of angle that so that's happening. So it's dark down here, and then just kind of like her face and hand here is being lit by that slot of light from that reflector there. So it's actually, we'll see it in a minute, but it's actually pretty controllable. Yeah. So do you like the smaller reflector panels over the larger ones just to cover the face? Would you use a large one for full body? So they sent me the 25s, and I will say that, yeah, like if you can afford the big ones are going to be better. The 25 ones you can just about get away with it with headshots, especially the shiny one. So we should see in a minute that the diffused one is pretty generous, but yeah. Like the shiny ones, because it's just literally bouncing back, more of a defined edge rather than spreading out. So yeah, I would say 25 is minimum for headshots. Yeah, definitely. So there's kind of other benefits for these as well, and kind of one of the, I was going to use polystyrene Irene, which is what we normally photograph, but that will actually be lighting me with them in a second. So you can kind of see here, I've got a light set. I haven't turned it on yet, so we're going to shine that into a reflector that's going to be in front of me. And that's the other major benefit of them, is that they don't take up any space, right? So you can put them right in front of a subject. So if like a subject's close to the wall or something like that, you wouldn't normally be able to get a light in there, but these reflectors you can just pop in there and it'll bounce light back. So great for being on set. Okay, again, it's going to be pretty niched for photographers. But like if you're somebody who does a lot of location work or something like that, or if you're somebody shooting video, then where there's tons of spaces where you can't get light in, I could see them having a lot of use. Yeah, a lot of use. Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of dig these out here a second. Let's have a look. Like I said, so this is the kit here. Let's go to full screen here a second. Microphone's working, it's always good. Yeah, so they come in 25 by 25 case, as you understand. I did a unboxing there on Instagram the other day, so nothing surprising in here. Okay, so and then inside we've just got 4 different colours here. We've got red, green, blue, and the yellow ones, and then also comes with these, right, which is what you actually put them onto, right? You actually put them onto the back of them and then put it on a stand, and then I should show a close up for Vlad. He loves a good bracket. So let's kind of test this out, right? Let's turn on this. I'm going to turn this light off, which is lighting me, and I'm going to turn this light on behind me, and then hopefully I'm going to bounce that light off of a reflector that I'm going to put there. Okay. Okay, so let's see if I can. Yeah, let's see if I can mirror. I should be able to do it for the app on the iPhone. The Godox app for the iPhone. Let's try it. Sometimes it lags out the stream, but let's try it. So you guys can't. I'll just show it to you here. But this is what I'm just opening up the Godox app, right? And in theory, that should turn on. Nice. Okay. So you can see. Nice. Okay, and then we can control the power of it here. Cool. Okay. That'll make things a little bit easier. Okay, so let's put that on for a second then, and let's turn this front light off. Okay. Right, let's go to full screen then. Let's just start off with like the shiny one first, right? So you can see very kind of reflective, not completely mirror-like, but pretty close, right? So yeah, obviously it just slots on like that, nothing just get that right in the microphone for you guys. Oh, actually, let me put it on the other way so I can actually screw it up. Okay, so I just got boom arm. You can probably see it in shot there, but I just got a boom arm behind me. So we can kind of see. Yeah, I'll tell you what. When you open that case and it says, make sure you're wearing a white gloves. Do they put white gloves in there? Do they? Hell, of course they don't. Yeah. Okay, so pretty strong. Pretty strong light, you know. It's a pretty. It's definitely a hard light for sure. You can see it's getting it in the eye there, coming across. So that's kind of just coming over my shoulder. So remember, it's being lit from that up there. So again, we can kind of, if we turn that up, I'm just using the app on there. We can turn it down. So that is, you know, it's doing a lot, right? It's doing a lot. And obviously we can change the colour of that if we wanted. So we wanted it nice and warm, or blue. Pretty straightforward. Okay. So pretty. That is. I forget what colour that one is, but pretty strong. Yeah. Okay. And that's what, I don't know, less than a meter away from me. So like 2 arms reach away. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's try a different one then. Like I said, that's the number one, the blue one, right? This next one's the number 2, the yellow one, right? So you can see immediately softer, yeah? Very quick to put on. So I need to increase the power of this one because it's obviously immediately we can see that softer. Yeah, immediately we can see that softer. I'm looking at the second screen here because I can't see the. Yeah. Okay. But that's clean though. It's clean, very clean. So when I go back too far, I'm being hit by that behind me. But yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, very surprisingly clean, right? Yeah. Now, there's a couple of reasons as to why that's happening, which I'll go over in a minute, which is another major core issue for using these. And I'll kind of speak about that in a second, but it's kind of apparent here, like when I'm talking about clean lighting, what does that really mean? So we're really talking about how even it is across the face. You know, is it like kind of that same exposure here? Is it there and that sort of stuff? There's no hot spotting or anything like that. It's a very clean, gradual fade across the face. Okay, but we can kind of get some nice Rembrandt in there. Again, I can't I can't see exactly because the screen's over there, but yeah, it's good stuff. Different numbers stand for what exactly? Hard to soft. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. So I forget what that is. What did I say it was? So on the case here, we've got one being the hardest, and then 2 being what we're on now, which is the yellow one, right? And then this third one will be the softest one, right? So super diffused. So we're going to try that now. Yeah. Yes, that's the yellow one, number 2. I'm sure Godoc's be over the moon that I've covered those in fingerprints already. So yeah, so this is the most diffused one. Okay. So have these together here. So we should be able to see there. So we got, this one is slightly more shiny here than this one, right? Which is a matte. Yeah. This one is obviously going to be the softest on the skin. It should, in theory, be the most beautiful on the skin, right? Which is what I need. Again, with it being the softest one, we may need to give it a little bit more power. Yeah, because obviously we're losing a little bit of power because of the fusion there. Just bring that up a little bit. But that's nice, right? That is soft. It's beautifully soft, right? And you've just got a little pocket of light in my eye here as well. But very, very soft. And again, this is like arm's reach away, and beautiful quality across the face on this side even. On this side even, especially when you're kind of pointed towards it. Yeah. I was kind of curious if I can open that up, because that's got a gobos in it. So let me just see if I can open it up. Just wanted to open it up, see if I could get light on both sides. So you're kind of getting, yeah. So it's lighting from behind and the front, which is what I was doing with the previous shoot, right? Obviously, it's pretty strong back there, but if I had, maybe if I was closer to this one here, then you're going to reduce the difference. Same as if I was using a shinier one here, you'd be reducing the difference as well, but you should be able to see, yeah. So on this side, obviously very, very hard light from that focused lens, and then on this side, very, very soft light, which is only coming from bounce back from that, yeah. Yeah. For those of you not aware of what I was doing there, basically that is the projection unit for the Godox projection unit, which basically it's got cutters in it, which you can kind of pull in and push out, and that gives you the ability to kind of really kind of sculpt the light down into the exactly the right region that you want. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of gating it down so that it's really only hitting that disc or the light panel, light flow reflector here. Okay. So lastly, we've got the red one there, which is the slot. We can kind of look at that and see if we can get it to work here in this small space. Let's see. So yeah, this is so we got, yeah, so this is the number 4, like the red one here. You guys should be able to see in the reflections, should be kind of streaky, yeah. There you go, you can see them there. So this is the one that gives you that slot, slot of light. And I do like how quick and easy it is to put on. So this is going to be vertical. So we've got a vertical slot there. So you can see, oh yeah. So it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty hard, but like you can come, yeah, so it's pretty defined. Yeah, okay. I guess you could angle that down a little bit as well. So maybe get further down the body as well. It's kind of weird looking at it because all the reflections in it are just like these vertical stripes. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, anamorphic reflections. Yeah, true. Yeah. So let's see if we spin it, right? So this should be horizontal now. And there you go, you can see here, right? So already you can see it being cut there. So and even up here, so it's like it's pretty controllable. Like, way more controllable than I was kind of expecting it to be, because like it is a reflector, for Christ's sake. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, there you go. You can definitely see it there now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's the kind of the 4 main ones that they do, and I think regardless of what size you get, I think you get all 4 on. You get those 4 colors on all of them. Yeah. All mine now have nice fingerprints in all the corners. But yeah. Do you have a link to buy them? I hope they're paying you to. Sorry, my phone was just they're paying you for supporting their product, but yeah, I need them right now. So let's come back and have a look here. Let me just get that out of the way. Let's come back. So they're not cheap, right? They're not cheap. So Essential Photo sent me these ones, right? 25 by 25, and this is the kit that they sent me, right? So you can take a look here. Now this Essential Photo is UK based. This is Essential Photo is the key or the only distributor now in the UK for all of the Godox stuff. So everything comes through them. So yeah, they've got them there now. Now these are really good for, like, if you're a still life shooter, man, like, can you imagine? These would be so good for that. Especially you could really refine light to exactly where you wanted it and really kind of dial it in, and get light exactly where you wanted it. So one of the major factor that I wanted to talk about with you guys with these, product photography, exactly, Ivan, yeah. So it's kind of one other major thing I wanted to kind of talk about with these. Let me see if I can turn this down a second. So yeah, let's look at let's go white page. This fine. I just wanted to kind of draw. I mean, I should have just opened up Photoshop, but we're here now. All right. Okay, so what's bouncing the light here, right? The light isn't going to be as bright here on the back. It might have frozen because of the app. Hopefully it's back. Yeah. Is it back? Let me just only be, quarter of a stop, something like that, but the front of the face is going to be brighter than the back, right? And that's because of how close that light is. Yeah. I've turned off the app, but yep. Okay, hopefully that should have fixed it. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, I forgot. It's going to be exactly as that, and they're all going to be the same. Fake lights, or like I said, on a cinema set, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make this more organic, natural-looking light, whether it be daylight or otherwise. And one way that they do that is to increase you want them to. So let's kind of bring this back then. Let's get rid of the thing, but let's have our subject reflector, and then we shoot that light into this reflector. Yeah, its travel exposure has been compressed, right? So it's almost going to be the same exposure on the nose and the back of the head, and this is what we want in cinema. We want this kind of very even compression of exposure because it's more organic. By bouncing the lights like this is a trick that they use all the time to do it. And when I say they, in here, right, sat down or whatever, and then you're bouncing that light in. But again, same thing, right? What's going to look more like daylight coming in through the window? Whacking this light in here, and then having a shorter distance for that light to travel, and then having that light being, quite a quick drop off, or doubling the distance that people in there, right? Let's say you had 2 people in here, right? So now, very, very effective, very effective. Now, sure, we would typically just use it on the shoulder, or like I'm doing here, having the light over the shoulder, or like I'm doing here, having the light over the shoulder, and then just bouncing it in here. And then maybe we'd use it because there's no room for me to get an actual proper light in here, but even in this, let's have a look. Exactly the most used. Yeah, I know, right? I don't. Yeah, Macs are not designed for the streaming like this. Yeah, close white page start. Like I mean, yeah. I think it's more camera related than hardware. Okay, so hopefully, as soon as I open up, I'm telling you, as soon as I open up that iPhone mirroring, that's what screws it. But anyway, it's done now. Okay. So, any questions on? Assuming that the stream is still going, but any questions on these that you think that would be good for me to look at or test out or play with, or yeah, anything you're kind of curious about? What is the? Oh, down there. I'm tempted to put the diffused one. Like this super soft one is beautiful. Just turn it out there on the phone, yeah. Okay. Not the iPhone mirroring. The second you closed the white page, it came back. What the hell? What the hell? Really? With it? Yeah, with that website with the white Bitcoin on it. That's hilarious. Okay, I'll stop being lazy and open it up in Photoshop next time. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay. Yeah. So any questions on that? Otherwise, yeah, I think we'll try and play with this some more. I'm really kind of interested about this extending the range of the light and kind of extending the drop off of these reflectors. I think it's a very clever idea that I think you can create some beautiful light with, and you can do it in a small space. So I think it could be cool. Yeah, it could be cool. Okay. Is it stopped now, Vlad? Yeah, has it stopped now? Okay, so let's wrap this up then. So yeah, if there's any questions about any of those, then by all means, send them over, and I'll try and test it out in the coming weeks some more. But yeah, be good. Gel over the reflectors work. Yes, it does. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to kind of test out. I wanted to kind of get the smaller ones because you can get 7cm ones as well. And so I was thinking maybe having a soft one like this, and then maybe getting a 7cm one in front, and then cut a gel over that, and you can kind of get this combination. It doesn't need to be as aggressive as the gel. You could even start playing around with Kelvins, right? You can maybe put a Kelvin gel on that small one as well, and then maybe try and get some interesting kind of colors and highlights. Because the shiny one would give you specularity, as we kind of saw in the previous images. So you could almost, in theory, get colored specular highlights because it's coming from the same space, right? You're essentially stacking two lights in front of one another. And if one was shiny with a gel on it, you could kind of get colored specular highlights, which could be cool. Yeah, it could be cool. Yeah. Okay. So thank you to Essential Photo for sending those over. Thank you for NoLED as well for sending these over, and we'll kind of see what we come up with. Okay. Okay. So with that out of the way, I suppose we can just move on to looking at your guys' images, right? Looking at what you guys have submitted. If anybody's got any questions on anything that we covered so far, then by all means shout out as we go along. Is this line okay to carry on with? I mean, seems okay. You don't need to see my face. Let's have a look. Okay. If anyone wants any of the links to any of the things I've spoken about, let me know. Yeah. Thank you, Gripes. Thank you. like Vlad says, that white page is just a Bitcoin farm or something. Yeah, it's hilarious. So let's have a look at what you guys have. We've got a lot to go through. So let's have a look. Let's give this a quick refresh. Oh, I saw Darius's that one there. Yeah. Well, most of these are just horses and naked black men, right? Like that's what most of these images are. I think there's a few a few other images. All good. Nice. Okay, cool. Right, so let's have a look. Let's start here. See what we got. So we got one from Warren. Okay, let me just fire up Photoshop in the background whilst that's doing that. Have to submit because it's just another shot from the shoot I shared on the last stream. Okay, mate. Okay, all good. Early dinner. Love it. Thank you. So Warren's one here. One from a recent vampire-themed shoot. 4 lights, 1 large softbox above, blue with blue gel, 2 strip boxes in the rear, left and right with magenta, 1 light with red gel pointing down and reflected up for fill. BTS and comment CC welcome. Okay, let's have a look at the BTS. I mean, this is a great shot, man. Good shot. Yeah, let's have a look at the BTS. So we got our 2 magenta strip boxes back here, right? Yeah. We got our softbox with the blue gel in it. Oh, this is a little fella down here. Okay, let me see that one again. So we got 1 light, red gel pointing down, reflected up for fill. Ah, yeah, nice. You can just see it popping in here. Nice. Okay, Warren. Yeah, nice. Okay, good stuff. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is great. Yeah, love the shot. Maybe just on this side, just getting a little bit bright on the magenta. You see how here we have this beautiful rich pink color, and whereas here it's kind of being lost. This is, I mean, and they may well have both been the same power, but what's happening here is we're seeing specularity in the hair because of the angle that we're shooting at, right? So we're shooting at this angle, and we're kind of seeing the direct reflection of that light. So that may be why it's kind of appearing a little bit brighter on that side. Just kind of bring it into Photoshop here a second. Let's just kind of open this up in Camera Raw. So talking about feedback on that sort of stuff. So just kind of looking at maybe just bringing the brightness down in here just a touch, right? Just on the face here, and we can either do it in here. Let's try and do it in here. So for colors here, it's probably not too much in the reds, like a little bit of blood down there, but most of this is going to be these bottom 3 sliders, right? So yeah, there's a lot going on there, and some stuff going on there, but the rest of them probably not much. Bring this to darken this pink down a little bit, and I'm just going to darken the blue down. You see how the face was kind of getting a little bit blown out, right? We're kind of losing that color losing that blue on the face because it's a little bit too bright. I'm just going to kind of bring that down a tiny bit. And okay, and we can kind of, it's probably not too much we need to do here other than just make sure we got a little bit of a stronger separation between the pink and the blues. We kind of push that over there. Might just take out a little bit of saturation there. Let's see what the calibration is doing. So it's just giving us a little bit more separation between the blue and the pink there. You can see on the kind of the face here, and then the hair. Just keeping that separation between the blue and the pink, right? And then, like I said, we don't need to do too much in here. So we're kind of happy with the color there. Keep that separation kind of clean. Oh, I wasn't. So when I was talking about the luminance before, I was actually hitting the saturations. That's my bad. Yeah. There we go. I was wondering. That's stupid. I'm used to using Lightroom. That's my excuse. There we go. So we're just kind of knocking that back. I think we can start to bring out some of this saturation back down now. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we can kind of see how we're just tightening up the colors, right? So we're just by darkening down some of those colors actually brings out some of that saturation. Yeah, which we would ideally do that in camera, so we just kind of ease off on the exposure of some of those gels, and that helps to bring out some of those colors. And then in here, all I've really done is just tried to maintain that separation of color between like the pinks here and the kind of blues on the face. We've still got the red underneath, right, as well here. So just looking at keeping that separated. Haven't seen the color volume booster preset, Jake. I would try that on the face here. What? What's that? What's that, Vlad? Color volume booster. Is that in Camera Raw, Vlad? What is that? Or are you winding me up again, trolling me? Anyone looking for the good large computer monitor for tether during shoot? Any idea on a maker? I don't tether myself, yeah, but I'm sure somebody else can do it, yeah. I think he sent you a test preset made for me. Oh, I see. Okay. Did you? You probably did. I wonder if that's in there. Because the presets are in here now, right? Or they always have. I don't use Photoshop but I think the presets are in here now. Yeah. I love looking at the future though, Vlad. Yeah, thank you. That's a good idea, actually. I forgot you could use presets in Photoshop. Yeah. Good point. Okay. Color booster, yeah. That's right. Yeah, I'll have to dig through, Vlad. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I know I've got the grain ones. I use the grain ones a bunch. Yeah, I use the grain ones a lot. To be fair, I try and keep it pretty low. I'm not in there with it. I'm usually just either the first grain or the second grain in there. That's the one somebody else mentioned talking about grain. Ironically, like you're always here on time, and the one time you're not here on time, we wasn't still there. It might have even been Ivan talking about it. Yeah. So we got one from Nico here. Long exposure setup from 2 strobes and 1 continuous. Love this technique, man. Yeah, huge fan of this technique. Yeah. So quarter shutter speed, and I'm shaking the camera while shooting. Strobe with a Fresnel on the main light. Second strobe behind model with some separation, continuous life background. This is awesome, Nico. Yeah, this is really cool. Really cool. Yeah, really good technique, and you executed it really well. I think it's kind of common for people to shake the camera left and right, and it kind of ruin the face. But here you've kind of kept the shaking kind of up and down, so that her silhouette is keeping her face pretty clean here, which is good. Yeah. I know as well it's kind of difficult to focus, right? Because there's no light on the front of her, so it's kind of difficult to focus in the dark like this. But done a good job. Are you using is this like a in post, or are you using like a lens filter or something like that? So are we talking about the shadows and stuff here seem pretty kind of lifted? I'm not against it at all. I'm just kind of curious. But yeah, just kind of curious if it was a lens filter or whether you just lifted the blacks in post. But yeah, either way, very very cool shot. Nicely done. Good stuff. Yeah, very clean. Yeah. He does, Graves. Yeah. The one time, oh Christ! Yeah, so just talking about the one time you weren't here, we were talking about grain. Somebody's asking about grain. Yeah. Weekend Warriors Pro range. Yeah. So we've got another one from Ed. This is clean, man. This is clean, Ed. Yeah, a simple 2-strobe setup, 3-foot octa as the key light, located camera left, and 3x1 strip box directly above the model. Okay, so a 3-foot octa as the key light, located camera left. Okay, so that's what's casting shadow on the cheek here, and then a 3x1 directly above the model. So you mean actually above the head here? Are you saying we're getting like kind of a like directly above, actually getting light on top of the head here. The red sheer fabric was tape hung to the front of the overhead strip box. Okay, so that explains where that strip box is then. Okay, that helps. Yeah. Yeah, totally above. Okay. Is it? I mean, it's got to be barely on. I mean, I suppose you can see. You might be able to see some highlights here from it on the hair. Okay. Yeah. And you'd assume this paper backdrop trying to keep reds in check. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So well done on this. So what's Ed saying here is trying to keep the reds in check. So those of you maybe new here or not really played with this before, but reds are kind of like one of the hardest colors to work with our modern digital cameras, just because like our chips really struggle with the far end of the spectrum here, right? So like the reds and like the far end, and then the blues and like the violets at the other end, the cameras really kind of struggle to see this variation in tone, right? And what Ed's trying to do here is he's kind of essentially experimenting with that to make sure that he has the complete range of reds here. And I would say you've pretty much done it. Now I would maybe in post just kind of lock these reds together a little bit more, but in terms of you keeping the data, like you've definitely done it. Yeah, you've definitely done it. Is there a way to, could do, let's try. Let me just try this. Just roughly. Sorry if you can hear my dog snoring. Interesting. So I'm just trying to bring some of these reds into this, just make sure they're all the same type of red. And I'm kind of cheating by using this curve here to do so. Now, another thing you could try, which I'm kind of curious about, is let's have a look. Yeah, if I was to, I just want to try this. I don't normally shoot something like this, but I'm kind of curious. What color should we go for? Something in the middle of the road. So we're looking at this, kind of like the brightness is a good example. So like here we've got 55%. So it's kind of like a middling red color if it's like 55% in the boom, right? So that's kind of like a medium red. Let's just pop that on there. Now it's kind of extreme, right? I'm not saying you do this, but I just wanted to try it out. You can bring some of it back. But you see how now this is all really feeling like the same red, Whereas before we had like kind of this yellowy orangey red here, we've got like a deeper red here. Yeah, and you could do the same with the lips, to be fair. You could probably get the lips in there as well. Yeah. You would need to do that a couple of times to get it locked in, but yeah, hopefully you can kind of see what I mean about getting these reds kind of more in line. And that, I think, that just really makes her kind of appear out of that shot now. Yeah. But like you did 99% of the work there, and what I mean by that is because you haven't lost or clipped any data in any of the reds there. All looks like super clean, tons of data. You can kind of see it struggling here, like in some of the highlights. You can kind of see where it's kind of struggling, where we got like kind of the similar tone here, but it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Added some foam pics to the show shoot as well. Nothing serious, just refresh when you're done with this. Yeah. No worries, Vlad. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no worries, Ed. Yeah. Like playing with graphic image, and when I mean graphic, you know what I mean, like design element images like that, which is very focused on color, right? Really all about the color. Like playing around with kind of locking those colors together, because maybe you could have had like maybe it was more broken than that. Maybe she was wearing like a blue top, right? But like the red fabric and the red background, you kind of needed to lock those into the same color. And then maybe she was wearing a blue top and she had like blue eye makeup or like a blue scarf on her head or something like that. Using that technique to lock these two colors together just instantly tightens up the image. Yeah, it does a huge amount. You really don't need to spend too much time on it. But good job. Oh, back of the camera. I'd love to see it. Oh, this is on the phone. Like this is like Vlad, but this is actually a screenshot of his phone. This was a result of my first experiment with coloured light. Inspire me. Thank you, Nick. This is cool though. This is cool. Okay. Now it's difficult to give feedback on this because you're only looking at the phone shot, but kind of seeing a similar thing here, right? Where this blue is too bright. All right. So it's clipping. So we're actually clipping data here on the cheekbone. Same with the red here in the hair. It's clipping out, right? So we're losing that data. So again, difficult because I know this is on the phone and you're just sharing your images, but I'm only mentioning it, Nick, because we're kind of already talking on that topic. But yeah, having the exposure of these reds and blues, really got to bring them down to make sure that the chips in our cameras can actually see all of that data. But you can see it starting to fall apart there. But nice, strong separation between these two very contrasting colors. Yeah. Again, to Ed's point here as well, if this was me, I was like, I'd maybe just make this corner here the same color as this, so we have this nice clean element. Yeah, or you make it red, so you get red, blue. Could be quite cool as well. Yeah. Here he is. Look, here he is. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So Darius always shares some light painting stuff, and yeah, this is awesome, really cool. Yeah. So balance. What is your opinion about face exposure and light painting exposure? I know that your long exposure shots have different balance. Your light painting is only a touch of light around the model. Mine is more impactful. Oof. Oh, it just really cuts me right there, man. More impactful. More impactful. I have little worries about the exposure of the model's face. I wanted to pop a face, but not as much to not destroy the light trails around. What do you think? I think this is good, man. I think this is good. Yeah. I think what Darius is saying here is that sometimes his light painting is very, very bright, right? It can be distracting. But I think when you're making it the main focus of the image, and look, when you're doing a technique like this, we had one back here as well from Nico, right? I think that he's doing a long exposure technique here, but let's just say for a second he didn't do the long exposure technique. There still would have been a half decent shot of the model underneath this, right? If he just lit the model is lit nicely. Not worrying about the long exposure part of it, still half decent shot there to begin with, right? And Darius is doing the same thing here, right? The model, if we take away the light painting, it's still a strong image underneath. And that's kind of my primary focus with long exposure, is that I'm not trying to show off the technique, right? I'm not a YouTuber, and look, that's not a dig, by the way. That's just merely saying that they are trying to show off the technique, right, rather than using the technique to complement an already beautiful image, which is kind of my take on it. And Darius, I think, is really more kind of left field of that and going, this is really about showing off the technique, and nothing wrong with that at all, because it works really, really well here. But he's also got a beautiful image underneath, if that wasn't there. So if you guys are curious about this, I presume, Darius, you've got a specific torch or flashlight, whatever you want to call it, like an LED one that is pulsing, right? So you've got a very like a flickering LED. Do you have a specific torch that does this? Can you allocate the length of the flicker or not? Kind of curious about that. And to wrap this up and answer your question, I think this is actually pretty well balanced. I think normally sometimes the long exposure can be too bright, but I think this is good. Yeah, this is good. Not always, just 99% of the time, yeah. It's my biggest problem to focus on model, not on like painted around. So every time I need to imagine photo with that. Exactly, Darius, yeah, I think, yeah. And I think a lot of people kind of overlook that, right? They kind of rely on the technique to kind of carry the image when I think it needs to complement the image personally, yeah. Oh, it is the ants on a melon. I see every time you post this, I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. So this kind of happened to me many years ago when LEDs were kind of first being used. Because when I was first doing it, I was using the old. If anybody's old enough in here to remember the old mag lights. You guys remember the old mag lights? So they used to be like the pen lights. The police used to use them, the pen lights, and they have a very powerful, very small bulb, and it creates a very strong point of light. But they were run on batteries and they were incandescent, and I would have to use a CTB gel and then a gel on top of that, and then it started to move over to the early the LED flashlights, but they would flicker, right? The early LEDs would flicker. And then I'd get better ones, and it'd be like, okay, cool, these aren't flickering anymore. And then the battery would run low, and our eyes can't see the flicker, but they're like turning off and on, off and on, off and on, off and on like this at such a rate that when we move it through a long exposure image, that's how it appears like this. Yeah. You could beat a horse with that. That's right. I mean, that's not what I use mine for, but yeah, I take your point. They were serious flashlights for sure. Yeah. I'm some kind of ambassador for them. In my honest opinion, it's the #1 tool on earth. so unbiased, Darius. Jesus Christ, people give me shit. Very modular. Everything works on one flashlight. Every tool has a special thread and no loose. Right. Let me just see this. Did you call it this, or is this what it's actually called? Oh, it is called a critter. Okay. So it's this fella here. All right. Okay. So, okay. Oh, you write through the app and that sort of stuff. Okay. 60 million colors. Love to see it. I wonder, does it have? Can you assign the speed between the flicker? I wonder. Is that something that you can do, Darius? Can you change the flicker or not, or is it just it flickers or it doesn't? Yeah. 200 plus twist on accessories. Jesus. Okay. I mean, that's like, to be fair, it looks like, serious bit of kit. That's cool, man. Oh, I see. That's clever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Lightsabers. Yeah. Okay. So how much is this then? How much is this? It's 100. Okay. Yeah. All right. Interesting. Yeah. It's cool that way you have 10 modes of speed, so you can change the speed. To be fair, that is cool. Yeah, 10 modes of speed. That is cool. I haven't actually seen one that you can adjust the flicker rate on them before. Okay. Interesting. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, I'll have a close look at some of the videos of that. Yeah. All right, good stuff. Okay. Well, congrats on the subtle ambassadorship. You're keeping that very, very discreet, mate. Yeah, let's have a look. So we've got one from Tony here. Tony, our resident Australian. Sadly, he's still waking up. He's going to miss the stream. So Tony says, back to my favourite style, dark, moody portraits. A simple 2-light setup with a main light to the right and a hair light to the left. Okay, so we got our main light off to the right, and then we've got our hair light off to the left. Okay. I've got to be honest, Tony. Yeah, I'm not seeing much of a hair light in there. But I mean, I guess I don't know. It's not really. I guess it could be striking here, maybe. But yeah, not really seeing much of a hair light there. But again, dark and moody. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Brutus, yeah, exactly, Vlad. Yeah, apparently that's what it does. Yeah, which is actually pretty cool. Yeah. It's got a music react mode. I used it. So where do we see that, this music react mode before? Where did we see that? I think I did a review on something, and I was just like, "Who is this for?" It's for Darius. It always Zhun. The Zhun LED lights had like a beatboxing mode or something like that. Yeah. So Tony, I don't know about this one. I don't know whether the hairlight. I can't really whether it's where it's striking her here, but otherwise this is definitely dark and moody. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Got one here. So Tony says, "Yeah, can't be there as usual, but here's a topic for you: Prime Pets Full Metal Lens." I actually have one, Tony. Yeah, I actually use it. I used it the other day. I haven't actually even. I think yeah. So. This is what Tony's talking about. I presume this is what Tony's talking about. So this is a remake of a very old lens. So it's all manual focus. It's got rack and pinion focusing. For us Nikon shooters. And then the apertures go in here. They slot in. So. Like, it is a beautiful lens. It is a beautiful lens. I do still use it. I think I did one shot with Isabel. Let's have a look. I think I spoke about it in previous week, actually. Yeah. So one of these. I'm testing the Nanlite panel. So one of these is, there you go. So that's the Pets Full there. So you can very distorted at the outside, very just distorted down here, and the focus point is really only in the middle. And I've got some shots here. I've only got the PSD. That's the Pets Full there as well. So you can kind of see kind of the swirling here, right? So again, it need to be kind of focused in the middle, right? And you can see the very, very blurred on the outside here. I think I got 3. So yeah, so here we go. So in landscape, so you can see. So this is not in post. So all this kind of blurring and stuff is all using that Pets Full lens. And so the further you get to the edge of it, the more kind of dramatic it gets. And also the aperture that you slot in dramatically affects the effect that you get as well. So like if you're at f1 or something like that, it's just like a pinprick of focus in the middle, So you can kind of adjust how dramatic this effect is based on the aperture, right? If you're shooting at f8, it's really only a little bit at the edge, as it were. So it's a fun lens, very slow to use, obviously rack and pinion focusing. Oh, there you go. There's another one there. So again here, really kind of and it really works outside. You don't really see it much in the studio, just because you need something like out there. You need a lot of kind of detail in the outside to really kind of show up, to show the effect. Yeah, again, this is me testing the Nanlite panel. So in answer to your question, Tony, yes, I think there's a review on my website as well if you were interested to see some more images. But yeah, just Google the Pets Full Jake Hicks photo and it'll come up. But it is a unique effect. I do love the effect. It can be frustrating, but if you want something unique, and you got a little bit of time, well, exactly. Test. Yeah. Do you have it? Tasky, do you have one? Because I think they've remade a bunch. Yeah, I bought one of those lenses, but not had much luck with the images. Haven't played with it. It takes time even. Yeah, I mean, you like rack and pinion focusing. is kind of wild. So I kind of tend to just kind of get it most of the way there, and then I just kind of focus by leaning, right? Because the rack and pinion thing is not perfect, but it needs to be in the middle, which is kind of weird for us because most of the time our subjects are kind of towards the outside. But you saw that image where she was in the mirror. I kind of got away with her face being in the middle there, and then outside, kind of getting away with her face being in the middle. But for studio work, it's very difficult to kind of justify having the subject's face in the middle of frame. Yeah. I think this kind of fall off would look better in more cinematic aspect ratios like 24:9. It's true, Vlad, actually. Yeah, I wonder, because you would only really, because you wouldn't see. Yeah, it's a good point, actually. Yeah, you wouldn't see, like, you're talking about the top and bottom, right? You wouldn't really see top and bottom, but towards the edges you would really see it. Yeah, it's true, actually. Yeah, that could be cool. Yeah. You probably know Pollock, the nice guy from Poland. I don't, actually. Don't. Yeah. Or is that Darius? You're talking to Darius. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. I had the Kodak Ektar monster lens. Okay. Yeah, I got a bunch of the old. I spent a lot with Lens Baby, because they did like the crazy ones, right? I tend to like the tilt shift one, like the 85 tilt shift. So good. I mean, it's called the Edge, so it's not really a tilt shift; it's just a tilt. But yes, such a beautiful lens, so sharp. Yeah. Exchange for a vintage car, same price, but did some photos with it. Oh, nice, Desky. Yeah, okay. Nice. Okay. So a bunch of you actually using kind of manual focus lenses. That's cool, man. That's really good. So I've got one from Michael here. Broken plexiglass, 2 small portable RGB lights, smoke machine. This is cool, Michael. Yeah, you're normally doing some definitely some creative stuff. This is bang on. Yeah, I love the colors here. Really good job with the colors. I think it would have been super easy to go for basic colors here. They like the more traditional colors, but or even just white. But I think you've done well with the colors here. It works well. It's good stuff. Yeah. This isn't a self-portrait, is it? Or you just maybe I think of somebody else, but I know a bunch of people in here trying the self-portraits. Yeah. Got one from Lennart here, Midnight Snack. This is cool, man. This is from a calendar series a few years ago. 12 image concepts from a viewpoint of a fridge opened at midnight. Nailed it. It was a fun project for me. A few friends, as each concept told a whole little story, like Ruth here taking a drink at Christopher at nightly gaming session. Nice. Lighting as the key had to mimic the fridge light. I placed an LED tube directly above the camera inside the fridge. Okay. Some more LEDs lit up the room. The blue for the more comic-like look. Another tube to fridge left to carve out her face. Oh yes, we can see. So she's being lit by a light. We see the warmer light here, and then we got the blue light on the edges here. That's cool. And then we got the blue light behind. Unfortunately, I didn't fit in the fridge. So I stood behind the door. The control camera by the camera and the phone. Nice, man. This is cool. Yeah. And this is like, we've just been talking about like niche case uses for LEDs and stuff like this. You couldn't do this with flash, right? You had to kind of you would have I guess you would have just put an actual lamp in there, like a bulb with a cable or something like that. But yeah, LEDs open up a lot of different options now with shots like this, and you nailed this. And I think one of the key elements here is the very strong color contrast that you managed to get away with. Right, this kind of deep blue may seem a bit out of context, but in reality, it's kind of the midnight moonlight blue color, and then the warm glow of that fridge. Like everybody knows what that is. You open that fridge and that light kind of blinds you. I think this is a really cool concept, really well executed. Even like this kind of foreground element here, like the hand with the composition, is nailed it, mate. Absolutely nailed it. Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, and obviously controlling it all with the Canon app. Yeah. So you're able to. So I haven't used the apps on the phone. Haven't used camera apps on the phone. Are you able to focus on the phone? Are you able to select a focus point? Yeah, it's cool though. There we go. I presume you are, right? You've got to be able to. The whole series. Okay, nice one. Yeah, if everybody wants to see the rest of the images, they can take a look there. I like that there's another can on the door that tells exactly where she's grabbing their out of focus. Yeah, nice. Yeah, you're focusing on the phone app is hard but doable. Okay. Hard but doable. Is it like hard as in there's a delay, right? So if the model moves too much, it's going to be a delay between its in focus. Is that what you mean by hard? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So one of the many images from Anastasia here are about the horses, but they are great images. But let's focus on this first one here. So we got inspired. Thanks. Here's a few of mine using just two simple lights. This is really cool. And years ago when I was doing the workshops, I had a bunch of people who would come along to the workshops and they would kind of take the gelled lighting style and kind of implement it in their own businesses. And a couple of them were equestrian photographers, and yeah, some of the shots I've seen with color gels and horses that they then went away and did, really cool. Yeah, really cool. Because like, I mean, look at the coat, right? You've done a really good job of this, because I know from experience that kind of fur and hair and stuff like this is actually pretty difficult to light, because that texture light just goes into fur and just doesn't come back out. So I think you've done a really good job of this, and you know, probably got a large modifier here, and we're actually seeing kind of the reflection of that model. Says about a third of a second delay, yeah, but could also be because the fridge is pretty much a Faraday cage. Interesting. I never thought of that. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So it was struggling to actually stay connected. I can see that. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Focusing on the app is different from brand to brand and from camera to camera. On mirrorless is fine. Okay, yeah, and Nikon Wi-Fi. yeah. Okay, I can imagine that. Yeah, I can imagine there's a heavy delay. Yeah, thanks. Any tips on how to improve light next time? Oh, sorry, Tusky. Is this? Oh, this is you. Is this Anastasia? Is this you, Tusky? Let's have a look. Let's bring this into Photoshop. Let's have a look. So really let's bring this in here, and let's just go back to camera raw. It's just easy, right? So yeah, with gels and colored light and that sort of thing, we really want to be thinking about where the focus of the image is. Where do we want our viewer to be looking when they open up the image, right? And it's usually going to be the face, right? So if we're going to do that, we kind of need to make the rest of the image just knock it back a little bit, right? Or at least not have a very bright element like this, because as soon as we open up this image, this is kind of where we're looking here, right? So we kind of want to knock that back, and this is not your fault that he's got like a white strip on him, but we kind of want to either, you know, do a little bit in post, or try and manage the lighting on the day somehow. So we really want to make this kind of face fine as is, and then try and knock back the body here. So let me. Is it? It's not gonna recognize this, is it? Oh, it is. Okay, interesting. Let me just. What about unable to select people in this photo? Okay, that was a bit of a stretch, right? It's a bit of a stretch. So let's just subtract, and let's take out a radial. So I'll keep his face in there. Keep his face fine, so we can kind of see the mask up there, right? We can kind of see where it's. So we just want to. We want to kind of darken the rest of this down a little bit. So take out the whites and highlights in here, just to knock that back. Now I'm working on the JPEG here, so you can start to see how this highlight is starting to fall apart. But if you were doing this kind of in Lightroom in the RAW, you'd probably find that you've got it there. You're fine. Yeah. I think we could probably afford to pop another one on the face there, create a new mask. Let's just go for radial again. And then just brighten it up just a tiny bit. Yeah. So really all you're trying to do is just keep the focus on the face, right? But you can kind of see what I mean just by turning that off and on. You can see where your like the viewer's eyes are drawn to, right? It's very kind of dominant over here on the left hand side here, and then, you know, as we just knock that back, really just focused on the face. So difficult to kind of do on the day, but just something to watch out for. And again, even just knocking back this orange just helps to keep the face, you know, really strong and punchy. worries, Anastasia. Yeah, no worries. Okay, thanks. Thanks for sharing an image. That beautiful image. Yeah, and again, like you've done really well to light that, because it is very, very difficult to light fur. I think you've absolutely nailed it. Yeah. Good stuff. So we got one from Rachel here. So we got Rachel here. So mixed lighting. So I'm guessing what Rachel's talking about here is like a mix of flash and ambient and that sort of stuff. And let's just kind of bring this into Photoshop as well. Let's just kind of see what we can do. All right, let's just go with Camera Raw again. And because let's just look. So again, I'm kind of curious as to this bright patch here, right? Kind of like it's kind of drawing our attention. So let's just go into let's come into the background here. So we've got the mask out the background again. We just want to knock back these whites. Yeah. So it keeps our attention on her, right? And we can kind of double down on that. We can go again. So rather than the background, we can have her this time, and we can kind of bring up highlights on that. Maybe just give us a little bit more contrast. Again, contrast is going to make it more engaging for us when we look at the image as well. So just adding a little bit of contrast in there. And can we get a bit of a grade out of this? Let's see what we got. We've got a lot of colors here. I was just seeing if we could bring a bunch of these colors together a bit. Kind of getting somewhere there now. I don't want to take away from your original kind of yellowy green skin there, but kind of bringing some of these colors together. And you could even tweak it a little bit more here, right? I like that blue contrast. Let's keep that cranked. You can have this nice strong purple contrast here. So we've got these nice yellows down there. Let's see if we can kind of bring some of these together. So tighten those up to more of an orange. Got the reds in here as well. We can kind of bring those together. Okay. So I mean, you could probably play around with some of the exposures here and even the luminance on some of these yellows to get a little bit of data back in the face there. But just all about, because the image is there, right? We're just talking about, and you can kind of knock that back a little bit, but it's all about just trying to drive focus of where we want. There's a lot going on in this image with the kind of the very kind of retro shapes we've got here, right? And I do kind of like the fact that we have this very strong angular design here, and then we have it kind of mirrored over here. So this kind of yellowy triangle is kind of here in the top, and then kind of mirrored over here with this highlight. But we're just kind of locking it in so that we're kind of focused on her. Okay. We've got a bunch of other shots from Anastasia. We were going to nice strong separation. Nice strong, yeah. We've got some more down here. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, nice with the breath as well. That's cool. Okay, let's have a look. We went over Bronislav's here. Let's have a look. So we got Kaguri cosplay photo shoot, 2 light bars, Young-Yo 360, 1 white LED, nice photo Hicks. Okay, I'm not familiar with a bunch of those. Whatever you're doing though, very cool. So we've got these pool tables in the back. I wonder if that's been comped in or not. It doesn't matter. It works really well. Yeah. Yeah. I wish Photoshop had a feature with a slider to bring colors closer together, more automatic. I guess. I mean, the calibration there the tool does. It's just yeah. I know what you mean though. I know what you mean. Yeah. YN360 is a light bar. Thank you, Vlad. Okay. So the Young-Yo YN360 is the light bar there. So we've got 2 of those. I wonder how long they are. It's a 360. I don't know what the 360 stands for. I guess it's not length. Sometimes it's length. But, But yeah, I presume this is comped in. But you've done a beautiful job if it is, right? You've done it really well. I also love the angle that you've got with the pool tables. If it's not comped in, just also even better, because you've managed to get like kind of the exposure of the background and the subject really dialed in. So that's really the only reason why I was thinking it's comped in afterwards. The background is comped in afterwards, is purely because you've really nailed the kind of these two exposures. So a lot of the time, you know, sometimes that's the result of comping it. So either way, you've done a brilliant job. If it's in camera, even better. But if it's comped, then I mean, it's a very good comp. You know, in the hair here, which is making me think that you did do it in situ, which is very cool. Yeah, it works really well. Again, here I would see we got these blues and the hair. Now I don't know how bang on the color of this hair is to the actual character. I would be tempted to kind of push this more to the red to get this nice contrast with the blue, but very cool though. I can see we've got this slice of light across here as well. Yeah, you've done a really good job here, man. Yeah, really good job. Good stuff. Yeah, very clean. Yeah. Definitely not sharing what I've been playing with whilst on stream. Oh, really? Spicy. Self-portraits, Jamie. Weekend Warrior, I presume. Oh no, I could whip up some presets to do that. Certainly, I mean that's what a lot of color grading is. Or like, no offense, but color grading is really kind of bringing together color groups to like to give you that color harmony. So yeah, I mean it's certainly doable. Yeah. So we got some of the links from Steve there. Oh, Steve showed. Oh, is this teaser, right? Godoc's teaser. Does anybody know what this is now? It's May 17th. It was a few days ago. So is this a new Flash? Does anybody know? I thought it was a trigger when I first saw it, but obviously it's not. Yeah. So Steve spotted that and sent it over. I haven't heard anything about that, so I'd be interested to see what happens with that. Yeah. It's the whole mini Flash thing. Yeah. What's that, Sterling? It is a Flash. Yeah. Because you do what, events or something like that? You do, is it you? Or it could be Danny Campbell who does the events. But I know people who do events tend to have like those kind of onboard flashes. Is that what that's for, you reckon? So we got one from Sterling here. So just finished this edit. I'm back from Bangkok. Oh, there you go. That answers the question I asked you earlier on. Sleep regularity eluding me still. How long were you over there for, Sterling? You were over there for ages, man. You were over there for like months, weren't you? This is from the same shoot where I came in at the last minute to help their lighting. Oh yeah, that's right, from last week. While the other photographer was shooting on set with the other model, I tried to make the most of the time by shooting the other model with available light reflected from the set. Did a lot of post work on these with the colors. Friggin' amazing tools we have today. Okay, so Sterling, what you're saying here is that you're kind of using the available light. You've only got like a few moments to grab some shots of this young lady here whilst the other photographer is off doing the thing. And then what you're saying is that, look, we had lights all over the place, and I'm just kind of trying to make the best of it in Photoshop. Look, this is cool, man. Yeah, you've definitely locked in the colors, right? Like the contrasting yellow and blues here. Obviously, I don't know what the final image, the raw, looked like, but yeah, this is good. Yeah, huge catch light, massive specular highlight as well. Cool hair as well, really cool. Yeah. Really love this slot of light behind here, the same color as the light on the front. And like, this is what, as we're looking at images, our eyes love this kind of light, dark, this kind of checkerboard effect. And you can do the same thing with color, but we're doing it here with the blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, right? This is why some of these images really stand out to us, is because if it's done well and we're kind of being brought, like our eyes get taken on a journey through an image, that's why some of these images can really kind of stand out. And I think Sterling's done a really good job here with that kind of checkerboard, but with color as well as light. Yeah, really good job, man. Yeah, 6 weeks. Okay, you were over there a while. Yeah. Okay. So we got shots from Ivan here. So These are really cool, man. These are really cool. So we shared a bunch of images here, and then we look at the final image here in a minute. But yeah, these are really good stuff. Yeah, really good stuff. What key light are you using above here, Ivan? Yeah, you've obviously got one big light up high, the blue light up high. Yeah, because you've got to cover a lot of area, man. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at the final image here. Okay, all makes sense now, Ivan. Okay. Yeah, nice. Nailed it. Okay, so how many final images we got here? Yeah, large reflector softbox within a diffuser blue gel. So it's just a large rectangular softbox. Sorry. Okay, above. Nice, man. Nice. Okay. Yeah, how many pieces is this in the end? I know you've added the smoke and all that sort of stuff. Are you using Boris effects for this, like the particle effects and stuff here? How are you doing that, or is that just images that you've comped in? So we've got the bed scene behind with the light coming out, which is very cool. You've got the woman in front. Is the woman in front and the bed scene all one image? Yeah, composite. Boris, yes. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's interesting you're just talking about that. Yeah, okay. And yeah, so we've got the bed scene behind. Is the bed scene and the woman all the same shot? And then obviously him, like the genie coming from above. Yeah. So look, we've been talking about focus and exposure and where we're looking and all that sort of thing, and we can definitely do that with color, right? There are dominant and recessive colors. We can go over that another time, but blue is definitely going to be the dominant color here. It's definitely going to stand out above the red. But I would still say that the blue is a touch overexposed here, Ivan, just in terms of the brightness. I think we could afford to kind of knock that back, and he still be definitely the main focus, because you can kind of see how we're losing a little bit of data here as it's kind of got a little bit bright. Now, I'm not saying that you shot it overexposed. I don't think you did, because I can see the original shots and they look great. Because this is beautiful texture and tone here. So I know that you shot it. You shot it correctly. So it'd be nice to kind of bring this back. And I think that maybe the particle effects and that sort of stuff, the white dust and smoke and that sort of thing, is probably overexposing it a little bit. But I don't know. This tonality and color and richness is so good. For me personally, it would just be nice to see some of that brought back, just a touch here. Yeah. But really cool shot. Love the concept. Very immediately obvious as to the concept that you're going for. As soon as you open up the image, we know exactly what you're going for. So I mean, that's what you want, right? So yeah, good job. And really nice, clever color contrast, with the top half being this one color and the bottom half pretty much being another color. But we have this blue floor. So again, we have that, blue, red, blue kind of thing. That's cool, man. It's good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. AI background. You know what? I was gonna ask, but I was like, you got to be careful these days, man. That's rude. AI background. Okay, that's cool. I mean, look, it works, man. It works. Yeah. I don't want to assume, but yeah, that's good. That's good. It looks excellent. The background is not the main focus. The characters are, so it makes sense. Yeah, I think you've done a good job with it. Yeah. Is she missing some toes in the shot, or just Jake's? Oh, I think it's. Yeah, I think that's the full image. Yeah. So what Vlad's saying there is just the toes cut off. It's valid. It's valid. Yeah. It's not something that jumped out to me, but still valid. Yeah. If you had the bottom there, I'm kind of curious now. Just real quick, we're wrapping up. Let's just see. Let's see if it'll do it. Yeah. Not quite. You probably need to. You probably need to run that a couple more times. Why did it struggle with that? But I can see what I can see what Vlad's saying. Had this been clean, yeah, I can see what he's saying. If we just do it manually, is it any better? Yeah. Let's just see if it does it. Yeah. Kind of curious. How many feet is it going to give us? How many toes is it going to give us? Oh, so it did a little better with that. Okay. Yeah. I can see what Vlad's saying, you know. It does look. Yeah. It does. That does open it up. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. Good spot, Vlad. Good spot. Yeah, good stuff. Toes in the original shot. Okay, nice. Yeah, I love how it hopefully guessed 1 foot and not the other. I know, right? But that's what I mean. How did you struggle with that? That seemed like a pretty obvious one. Of course, now I got the other one. Yeah. So last up here, we got one from Kevin. Keeping a country in the studio with this fairly simple 2-light setup, both with gridded strip boxes. Okay. So yeah, Kevin's submitted a bunch of shots recently with the country style. We got the old cowboy look and that sort of thing. That's good, man. It's good. Yeah. This is a nice clean portrait. Yeah. Nice. We got a nice highlight here. I'm just looking, 2 simple light setup with the strip boxes. Yeah, just looking there. Yeah. So this feels like, and this could be intentional, but just watching the color on this, this feels just a little bit green. I don't know if you wanted to make it, if you wanted to keep it neutral or not. Like, I think it's fine. It's just be mindful of it. Let's just see here. So it's only a little bit off, yeah. So we got 72 red, 77 green, and 73 blue. So just in terms of the grey, so we're just a little bit, just a touch high in the green there. So look, just like I said, it just feels a little bit green. Just bring that down. It's interesting. See what? So when you do this, Photoshop gives you the closest web color. So if you're ever unsure, then you can just click on the closest web color, and you're like, yeah, definitely green. Just something to be mindful of, because it's just like, you probably wouldn't even need to go too far. All right. That's probably all it needs. Knock it back. Maybe too far. But yeah. I was like, I nailed it. Oh, why Photoshop always does that. Like, I'm not looking at the mask. Oh, look at that. So yeah, this is what happens when you do photography for 25 years. You can see you can see +1 or +2 in the color profile. Look, that's my talent, and that's all I got. I can barely add 2 numbers together, but at least I can spot green. I know, Ivan, right? Yeah. Talk about useless skill, but yeah, there we go. But yes, Kevin, great, honestly, cool shot. Love this series that you've been doing. I'm sure it's been a bunch of fun, but yeah, just be careful when you've got these neutral backgrounds, i.e., grey backgrounds. Just make sure, what color do you want them? Do you want them to be actually neutral or not? One thing that you could do with that, and what I've done in the past, if I'm kind of happy with the color on him, you can just go select subject, right, and then just create a hue saturation, just invert that, and then just take all the color out. Yeah, so we've just stripped all the color out of that background. When I turn it off and on like that, you should be able to see the green there now. Yeah. So yeah, it's just something that you can try. All right then, guys. We are. Oh, look at that, on time as well. 5:02:10 here in the UK. So I think we are good. Oh, Vlad. That's it, Vlad. That's cool. Yeah. So let's have a look what Vlad's got. See, Vlad made it to the top of the list. This is what I worked on my entire week. If anyone can guess what it is, I'll send you some grain presets. Guys, I'll give you 30 seconds to guess what this is. If you want to get yourself some awesome free grain presets. Can we guess what this is? Wonder what that is behind him there. Let's see what else we got in here. Here's another angle, and yeah, it's a photography piece of kit that I dyed. It's got a couple of switches on there. Got this super lightweight carbon fiber cage. Oh, and the insides, guys, he's giving it away, man. Come on. Giving it away. That's it, Vlad. Honestly, you've stumped them, mate. You've stumped them. Yeah. I think they've had their 30 seconds, Vlad. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Looks like you're safe, Vlad. Saved yourself having to give away some presets. Let us know. What is it? What is it? Looks like it's controlling. We've got a light back here. Yeah. So yeah, what is it then, mate? What are we making? Interesting though. This is a couple of steps up. Like I'm pretty happy with wiring a plug, mate. So this is a couple of steps above me. Yeah. It's not that. It's just a light in the corner. Oh, you were throwing us off. Hey, that's just baited us. Yeah. I see there's a big capacitor or something and triggering the flash LEDs. It's that he baited us, Ivan. Yeah. He tricked us. Yeah. I so thought that was connected, mate. I was like, oh, this has got a cable coming out here connected to that. Yeah. Totally baited us. Right. Whilst Vlad is typing out his manifesto on how to make whatever that is, start wrapping things up here. Thank you to everybody who submitted an image, even Vlad. Look, it takes nerve to kind of put your images out there, especially when the image is being shared in here at like very, very high quality. Like all of the stuff you guys work on, beautiful. I've just noticed as well. This is the slot of light again. So you can see the slot here. So it's really keeping the bottom half dark and just on the face. So yeah, thank you to everybody who shared an image. Everything, all the images again here are great. Incredible set of images this week. Absolute pleasure to go through those. So yeah, don't be shy next time. If you're watching, you're like, oh, I don't know if I should post my image. Just do it. Just do it. We will start somewhere. This is I'm pretty open to anything that's not black and white. You should be good. Also, don't forget that I'm still doing my online workshops and mentoring. So if you're interested in kind of getting into the finer details of how I create some of the shots that I create, whether it be like some of these more cinematic ones, or getting involved with just actually using colored lights in a way that means that we have very clean, uncluttered. I'm literally talking over my snoring dog. Yeah, so if you're interested in that, or even the projection workshop as well, like this, still think this, like some of this stuff is still totally slept on with projectors. Very, very creative tool. All of this is done in camera. So yeah, very cool. So yeah, so check it out as well. Pop a link in there. Take a look. And if you're interested in any of these, just you can click on the bottom here, and it takes you into more detailed images of what's involved and the PDF and that sort of stuff. As always, do what Jamie tells you, don't do what I tell you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. If there's any other questions, I think we're pretty much done. Basking in my nice warm daylight coming in here. Exactly, Jamie. Exactly. Do what Jamie tells you, for Christ's sake. Yeah. Going to buy some more gear now. I know, right? This is an expensive stream to watch. Yeah. You can do the camera Wi-Fi. You can do camera Wi-Fi to it, and it would amplify the Wi-Fi significantly. Jesus Christ, Vlad. No wonder we didn't guess it. Interesting, though. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. Okay. Clever, Vlad. Fair play, man. Wow. Okay. Nice. Buying a new house with a large studio space, so yes, we'll be in your mentoring. Sounds perfect, man. Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah. Hey, or do a bunch with people online at the moment. They've got a bunch of testimonials and bits and pieces if you want to see what other people have gone into. But yeah, working on people's home studios and that sort of stuff is something that I do a lot of. So yeah, that'd be good. Look forward to it, man. I think that's it, guys. I'll try and get Technique Tuesday out next week, but 2 weeks time we'll do another one of these streams in theory. Yeah, now my birthday's on the 29th, so you're good. You're safe. Yeah, you're safe. All right, guys. I'm going to keep talking whilst I find the window with the stream in it.